show coming from the RAC store. With this back in the Mac in the back flow. Let's go, chillin' with raccoons by the back door. Take calls so you can stake more. All I wanna do is making dough, right? But I found this crew and doing alright. We RAC will bitch, ready to fight. So many raccoons ready for the boss life. I might fly high like a kite, right? But always ready for a shite for the right price. Raccoon supply has the right price. Giving you respect if it's likewise. So I'm buying all the mean guys with the clean heart. Read between lies, laser beam through lean eyes. Warrior with clean lies, trash mouth, mean smile, be wise. NFT wise, fuck with these guys. It's the RAC lab from the back lab. 110 of these in my backpack. Crazy RAC lab from the stash app. RAC will take a lead in this haystack. It's the RAC lab from the back lab.
Good morning, RAC FM. And it's Friday the 2nd of June. And it's not 0800 because fucking your man was busy. It's closer to fucking 10 a.m. I think. What is it? 10 a.m. EST, something like that. Anyway, this is your US of A Cosmos Crypto Breakfast Show. Generally presented by me, your host, Robo and Bbandz of Rockville. And we've got Chief Pleb Officer in the room, Mr. Finn. And KRIS is up here as well from Juno Bets. And without further ado, Mr. Bendy, are you doing all right, son? I heard you've been in a dark room for 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I've recovered. From Soy slamming me as the Andy Carroll of the Atom Accelerator, which, as a Liverpool fan, was quite a painful accusation.
Oh, bro, when I read that, I literally burst out into a fit of laughter, and I was supposed to be a talk, and I put myself on mute. I couldn't contain it. So for those in the room, there was a little bit of chat, and we'll go into that about Bendy sort of taking over from someone. And Soy was like, this reminds me of the time that, was it Fernando Torres, was it? Or
yeah, Liverpool sold Torres, and with that money, they bought Andy Carroll. Torres obviously was a world-class striker, and Andy Carroll was just someone from the northeast of England.
A pleb, an absolute giga pleb, on a different scale. So Bendy, yeah, man, we'll get into that in a minute. Bendy, I just want to ask you very, very quickly what you think about, or do you know about this second Juno meeting that's taking place right now as we speak?
I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
You're gonna have to fill me in.
There's been a bit of outreach. No, I mean, they're just making plans to be able to save Juno, and actually rescue it and turn it into something. I mean, this is proper resuscitation shit going on. 2 minutes, Timmy. We've been waiting all night for Bendy, and we've just got him in, bro. Literally, Timmy, 2 seconds, bro. 2 seconds, right? It's really important. I've kept these questions all night. So, Bendy, you don't know anything about this at all, no?
No, I've got to admit, I hold more Juno than I should, but I haven't paid a huge amount of attention to what's going on. I don't, to be honest, with the amount of time I'm spending on the Atom Accelerator, I don't have a lot of time to keep up with the other chains now. Obviously I noticed the major drama on crypto Twitter, but yeah, no, I'm not aware of what the sort of what's going on with Juno particular.
Sounds like he's got some crypto Twitter drama in the background there. That's what I hear whenever I read this kind of shit. It's just little kids fighting over stuff.
Well, currently I actually have 2 kids fighting over stuff in my back garden, which I'm currently keeping an eye on. One's
crypto Twitter move to crypto Twitter live in Bendy's garden.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know which one's Jacob and which one's Don yet, but we'll figure it out.
Brilliant.
Love it.
So, yeah, mate, they're just, apparently I think there's this mad mission to, do everything they can to have a bit of change of direction in Juno. So I'll be interested when it's actually over and done with and the reports come out and we find out what was agreed, what was said, blah, blah. But, Bendy, you know why you're on here. And, thank you very much. Is this your first space appearance, dude?
Well, as a reviewer committee member, yeah, it will be.
Right, okay.
I've done, yeah. So yeah, no, very it was one of those where obviously aware that people might have questions with us making some changes, and obviously I'm kind of at the centre of that. So I just thought it was good to pop along and see what's going on.
Interesting, dude. Yeah, I mean, Bendy, I think it was quite a surprise to many in the community. Now, Finn and I were making a joke about it the other night. We wanted to have that kind of thing, right? That was like the idea, yeah. But really, I do think it caught a lot of people off guard, simply because of like maybe recency bias. Like the AA DAO is still like so fresh in our mind. It's still so like new. You've just had your first announcement and then bang. Was it anything to do with the MetaMask coming over? Because it seemed like the timing was a bit coincidental,
No, it was. I mean, it wasn't particularly. It wasn't a product of anything that the DAO was doing. It's not like we've gone, there was, what would you call it? If it was a band, artistic differences. It's not like that. It really is to do with, the amount of time that people could devote to the DAO. The amount of work is actually really significant. Luke obviously is incredibly busy with Delphi. And then just the amount of work, he's done a huge amount of work getting us set up, and with the work that he's done on the review committee and some of the technical stuff he's been looking at. But it was starting to become apparent that it wouldn't be sustainable for him. And the other bit then is that obviously because of, there just is an increased number of, it's hard in Cosmos anyway with conflicts of interest, but there would be an increased number of conflicts of interest for Luke because of Delphi's involvement in things like Neutron, which then means that you've got to be really careful about sort of, how many things can he actually look at the code for us on. And it's such a key role, that technical bit, that's why we've taken that out of the reviewer committee, and we've got Julianne from Binary, who's a SDK dev, who can kind of do a lot of that. We've also got some spare budget that we can use for additional technical implementation. If you just excuse me 1 minute, my children are just screaming at each other. So I'm going to have to go on mute and scream at them for a minute or two, and then I will return. I'm really sorry.
No, you're good. And this gives a perfect opportunity. So, Kimmy, what we did, mate, I'm gonna get you in now, right? What happened was that we did like literally the beginning of the recorded show, like 2 hours in, kind of thing. So let me get this sorted quickly. Here we go. Yeah, mate. The thing about tonight was because like I wasn't going to record it earlier than just record this bit, but Finn's like, nah, just record the lot and I'll chop it up for you. So the idea is to be able to catch Bendy on this, what should be like a good little fireside chat. That's what I promised him anyway.
So right, sorry, I'm back. Sorry. I think I sort of answered your question about sort of the timing. Where it's one of those things where I guess changes in DAO membership will happen and they will come up, but it's the first time that we've experienced it. I think that it was all completely amicable and there's not a lot to it. I think in terms of there's just some realities to trying to work in the environment that we are, and I think what we wanted to do as soon as we kind of knew that this wasn't going to be a sustainable structure was kind of communicate what it was and put some adjustments in place. But it's these things will get more normalized over time, but I guess that finding out what the best way of working is and what the sort of most accountable process here is, and kind of how to help people understand why things are changing and why what the realities of things are is hard, because what you see when you're working with people day in, day out is different from the sort of comms side of what we do, right? So I think that it's an interesting challenge we're experiencing, and hopefully we can do enough communicating to reassure people that we've still got quality in the now.
Did it come out of left field for you? This did it?
Like there was a conversation maybe I can't even remember when, let's say a month ago, where there was some sort of like it's people trying to do the right thing where they're going, I'm not sure I've got enough time, I'm really committing to it, I'm going to keep going. So I know myself that the amount of time involved is not insignificant, and depending on what else is going on, like if you're someone as important as Luke is in his roles at Delphi, that thing's going to end up having to take precedence, right? So as things change and the time that people have available, you try to make things work, but you have to be realistic in terms of what's a sustainable way of working for any individual, because he's doing the hours with the DAO on top of what he was doing at Delphi, and it's starting to, that's a challenge. Plus, then, as I say, Delphi's own, I think just kind of understanding what you can realistically expect someone to look at when they are declaring potential conflicts of interest, and the cadence at which that's going to happen is going to increase, right? Just because Delphi's, and this is good news, Delphi's far more involved in Cosmos than it was a while ago, right? And I think that it came out yesterday. Was it yesterday? Was it today? With Mars outpost on Neutron.
Oh,
obviously So there's more, there's things are happening there that just mean that you kind of go, okay, if we're going to have someone who's our kind of technical lead, we need to make sure that they are not that the kind of new and most innovative stuff, if they're at the front of that, they can't really be doing some of the technical side of things for the DAO, right? That seems sensible.
Yeah, talking about Mars, we've all seen the dumps, haven't we? I mean, Bendy, a quick one for you. Are there big shoes to fill, or do you feel like you're going to slip right in?
My view was that obviously I can't fill those shoes. I'm not technical in the way that Luke was, but I think I can still, the actual elements of what I need to do in terms of reviewing an application doesn't require that same level of auditing. So you can see that what we've done is in the post, we've divided Luke's role responsibilities into 3 sections. So he led a lot of our kind of multi-sig operations. That's kind of being split now between Dylan from Imperator and Zave from Chorus One. And then it's myself sort of assessing some of the grant applications and doing interviews and that kind of thing. And then the technical stuff is being picked up by Julien from Binary. So the kind of, in that sense, the shoes that I've got to fill, I'm only filling a third of the shoe. So I can probably do that. If I, there's no way I could have done what Luke did for us, in totality. But in terms of like reviewing, assessing the grants and things, the good thing is, having been part of the team, I've seen how the other guys work and sort of have had the benefit of kind of learning from what they've been doing. So I think that will be okay. I've got my first stuff to do over the weekend. I've got grants from batch 4 to start looking at and starting to make my initial scorings on those. But yeah, I mean, again, the scoring criteria that we use are fairly transparent. They're up on our website, so you can see the kind of ways that we score things based on like the team that there is, how it fits with what we're kind of looking to fund, and the key criteria is how it drives value to Atom, because people will tell you that all sorts of things do. But some things are obviously going to drive more value to others, and we do have to be somewhat selective. That doesn't mean that things that are rejected aren't good ideas. It's just that we're trying to be at our most capital efficient.
Bro, are you excited? Like, are you proper excited about it, are you?
I'm really excited about everything that we're doing. I think that it's not so much about me, it's about what everyone's achieving.
Are you going full time?
Pardon? No, I'm still part-time. So I'm going to be still doing my normal job. I'm just going to be working at the weekend as well as in the evenings in the week. So it's just more time. And again, like, we had a very straightforward conversation within the DAO when Youssef and Better Future told me that Luke had decided to step back. They said, would you be interested in doing that? I was like, I wanted the rest of the DAO to be really comfortable that the time I was offering was sufficient and matched what their experience was of doing it. So that was and then like, for example, in our internal processes, the remaining reviewer committee members and the oversight committee all voted on this. I basically had to, I left certain channels within our Slack, and I didn't attend a portion of our team weekly meeting, etc., to allow them to kind of all discuss all of that in private, so that, there's kind of like, to try and do it in the most decent way that you possibly can, because I think that it's really important, for my own sort of sense of decency, that I know that my colleagues are in support of what I do without feeling any particular pressure around it. It's sometimes not easy to talk, to say, well, actually, I think that Bendy's an idiot, so he shouldn't be on the reviewer committee if I'm in the room, right? So you kind of, you push yourself out of those places. And I think that I am really excited about, everything that we're doing. And there are some really cool conversations that I'm now kind of starting to be part of when you're interviewing teams and you're hearing about some of the things they're building or they're looking to do, and how the kind of interchain world is starting to look, and I do think it's becoming more interchain and less about specific chains, which is really nice, because I think that is starting to deliver on the vision of what Cosmos is trying to be, really. I think while obviously I'm going to look at everything through an Atom lens, I think what's really interesting is the fact that what chain the activity is happening on is becoming increasingly less important.
Interesting. Did you get to talk to your man like before he left? Did you get a chance to have like a one-on-one with him? See what he'd been doing recently?
Yeah, for a start, Luke and I worked on drafting the comms that went out, because that's part of my job as well. So we had a decent conversation, and we're still in the DMs with each other. And the other thing is, like, he's still completely available to us if we want him to do additional bits. He's still so where there isn't any sort of conflicts of interest, and when he does, he's quite happy to jump on calls. He's doing it with a couple of the guys regarding some of the multi-sig operations. We've got some stuff coming up that we need to kind of just make sure the processes are all sorted with. So yeah, he's jumping on a call with a couple of the team and a couple of third parties, just making sure everything's running smoothly. So it's not like, it's not like it's a hard end, if that makes sense. We just kind of get to continue to make a transition. So yeah, we're in the loop with each other, and it's all good. We're still buddies.
So, mate, are you hoping to bring like a different perspective? Do you think that now you've actually seen this, like the DAO working and everything, right, and these reviewers and their individual skill set, etc., blah blah blah? Do you think you're going to bring some like different perspective? Because you've been talking about cool stuff on our spaces, like this is what I'd like to see more of, or being quite good crack,
I think I have a slightly different perspective than some people, partly because either by being in the space less time, so you're kind of less wedded to ideas, or because I've not been like a maxi for any particular chain. You kind of see stuff that's going on and you think, oh, that's really cool that's happening over there. So like I caught the kind of tail end of you guys talking about sort of DAOs and DAO treasuries and how that works, and like that's one of the things that came up during Prop 95 is like we're just in technical terms, we're just a multi-sig, right? We're not using any kind of DAO tooling on chain.
Yeah. So can I ask you, Bendy, just a little quick segue? What are you actually using it? Because Timmy was talking about Gnosis Safe or whatever it's called, right? And he's saying it's absolutely like abysmal for the Evmos stuff. What about you? What are you guys using?
What, for the multi-sig?
Yeah.
So it's just a standard multi-sig wallet, but what you do, as far as I understand it, I'm not. But then basically, you sign on using the CLI. So people are doing. So it's really cumbersome. It's not a good system. Like, it's very secure. It works perfectly well. You'd need, in order to do anything, you'd need 4 out of 7. Wallets, right, to do any transactions, but it has this problem of like if you try and if you're doing things asynchronously, and you've got 6 transactions to make, then you have to do the transactions in the same order as everyone else. So if transactions are meant to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you accidentally start at 6, then it just breaks the transactions, right? It doesn't work. So there are things like that that just make it very time consuming. Whereas obviously, if you're using something like a DAO tooling where you just vote and that, the details are already in there and it hits a level and then it triggers, that seems much quicker. And it's less technical administration, and it opens the doors for less advanced users to start to run their own DAOs. So whether that's us or whether, I still believe that there should be significantly more DAOs operating on the hub than there are at the moment. There's only us, and there should be there should be multiple.
Within the chain account. But within the chain account, right, this is what Polyphone is, right? It's based on interchain accounts, and you're effectively going to be able to have a DAO on the hub if you guys want, quite easily.
Yeah, I think that we might need. I may be wrong here, but I think we'd need CosmWasm on the hub for that to work because Polytone's CosmWasm, but I may be wrong. I think we need WASM at both ends.
I've thought about that. I'm sure he announced that anywhere interchain, because I'm sure they were saying like this Polytone is like the first real display of what interchain accounts was created for. It's been their big selling point, you see. I'm sure it's not CosmWasm, is it?
I think I may be wrong. I think it is, and I think you basically want WASM on both chains for it to work because it's a WASM thing. But then, but it does combine interchain outs and interchain queries, and is really exceptional from what I understand. So that could be really interesting. I think that one of the things that we wouldn't want to move our treasury off Atom. So then you want to be, being able to control that treasury from another chain, that doesn't seem hugely problematic. There potentially is the opportunity to do that from something like Neutron, potentially gives us that kind of balance of security because it's the same validator set that, secure in both Neutron and the hub. So effectively you can kind of, from a risk assessment point of view, you can kind of look at it as being the same thing. So that's kind of interesting. But I do think that it's not so much, it is about us, but I think also what I would love to see, for example, we've just announced that that the hub is going to sponsor Cosmoverse. We've put up the money for that. But I would love to see there being a DAO that were responsible for the kind of coordination and event sort of marketing side of things, because that's something that I'm going to be coordinating and working with the various partner chains and key contributors. But actually, that's not a grants program thing. It's just that we're doing it because we're the only ones, and it would be really fantastic to see other people.
What have Cosmoverse offered you in regards of receipts? Because we all saw the Medellin receipt, right? That bloody spreadsheet that was just like lightning video, 400k, blah blah blah. There's never been a receipt produced or anything, right? Now, if you guys, surely there's got to be some financial accountability of the spending of those funds, right? Surely, yes or no?
So that's not quite our responsibility. Our responsibility is whether the sponsorship money that we give provides good value to Atom, right? That's how they then choose to spend the money is kind of up to them. Now, as you may remember, my background is in the sort of live events industry. And when I saw the stuff on their spreadsheet, I thought, yeah, that seems like a fairly, it's in line with the kind of budget. I used to work at one of the biggest conference venues in the UK, and definitely things like, people were moaning about their production costs. And I looked at those and thought they've come out slightly light compared to what I would have expected, to be honest. So, but that the actual kind of how the funds are used, that's up to Cosmoverse. I think that what we were really determined about was that we wanted to make sure that Atom got the absolute best value for money that it could. So in terms of the number of speaker slots, the number of panels that we get to be on, the physical and digital branding opportunities, the little bit of news that sort of predates anything we've announced, but we're going to have our own kind of room for the Atom Economic Zone. We're going to work with people to kind of do some reporting from there that goes outside of the space, because I think as someone who's never been to Cosmoverse, I really felt like it was important that we had something that kind of went back to people that weren't just there. I think there's some huge value in terms of showcasing Atom at the center of Cosmos to that Turkish community and to the kind of crypto media and power users and those kind of people. But there is also a thing about making sure that you're kind of reporting back to everyone outside of the room, because people aren't going to sit watching the live stream for every minute of every day. But I think kind of doing some kind of like, today at Cosmoverse stuff and kind of reporting back and doing some spaces and kind of having some sort of stuff like that and one of the things that really struck me is no one really did that for Atom last year because there wasn't anyone responsible for doing it. And I think that like just simply having us take responsibility for it immediately means that Atom will get better value, because from what I was told by the Cosmoverse team, like literally no one from Atom even went on the Atom stand that was there, because there wasn't really anyone from Atom at the event. It's like, there are different teams doing different stuff and contributing code and doing the work that they do, but there isn't anyone who was like, oh yeah, it's our job to stand on this stand and talk about Atom to everyone that comes past. So I guess that will be me. But there is, I think
your man's getting free tickets already. Fucking here we go.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping that I will get a ticket. I don't know yet. That's not been confirmed. But what is more is the case of actually trying to that kind of event coordination stuff is, it's not a sob story particularly, but it is hard work, because what I'm trying to do is bring together what Neutron are going to be doing, what Stride are going to be doing, if Noble's an ICS chain, if Duality is an ICS chain, what the various core contributors to Atom are doing, and trying to coordinate that into some sort of coherent proposition, so that we actually have, I don't know, some marketing for Atom, as opposed to just sort of, obviously there was 2.0 last time, but like that was very inward looking. It was just to ourselves that really we were talking to, whereas what I'm hoping we can start to do is reach out beyond our own very inward looking view on some of this stuff. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, love to go to Turkey, never been, would be really nice to go, but I'm not really expecting to see much of it beyond about a sort of, 4 square meters that I'm going to be living in as I try to shill Atom to people.
Oh, he's the sob story, guys. We know the drill. He'll be out there with Cito having a right old session. Hey, I tell you what, Bendy, don't go all business class on us, mind you. You're still one of the lads, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of it's interesting, actually. One of the first things that happened after the DAO was in post was like, what was the conference? ETH Denver, I think it was. And a few of the team were there. And like, it was really interesting how strictly the oversight committee were like, right, okay, these are like the spend limits that you can have. This is how much you can spend on food. This is what you can spend on drink. This is you can't spend any more than this on your accommodation. So it was like they, like, I don't think anyone would have taken the piss anyway, but it's one of those where it's really reassuring to have those kind of rules where you just go, right, this is what I'm allowed to do. And if I do, and any more than that is like, that's not okay, because nobody wants to be, or nobody should be eating gold-plated steak on the on the community's dollar, right? That's not how it should work. So certainly, speaking for myself, I've got no intention of running up a particularly exciting expense bill. because why would I? You know, if I want, like, and that's the other bit is like, I'm being paid. So if I'm going to buy, you know, if I want to go and get drunk, I'm going to spend my money on that. I'm not going to spend the community's. That's outrageous. So anyway, that's just, but yeah, you know, I think we know each other probably well enough by now that, you know, that it's not really going to turn my head.
Oh, bro, I tell you what, I love some of that hospitality money, me. Years ago, right, when I worked for Walmart, right, and I used to go all over the country for them, right. Like I used to take a squad in like a car or a van, yeah, and literally like a group of forklifters, and wherever they were short the manpower, we had to go and like fill in, and we used to get like 35 quid a day, right, for like food like allowances, like living allowances, but they paid for your hotel. Sometimes it was a bed and breakfast, but all of these like hotels or the bed and breakfasts have like, you know, a free breakfast. And then we were at work like during the day, right? I was only like what, 19 or something at the time. We're at work during the day, so we were eating in like the canteen for free, right? And then, bro, we were just going to the fish shop, like, you know, 3 quid in the fish shop. And like the guest houses, we were like, hey, can we just like get booze with this 35 quid every day? And they're like, of course you can, bang, no problem. Because they didn't pay to you, they paid direct to the hotel, right?
That's really, yeah, per DMs are great for that because you just keep your costs down and you can still spend your money. The best I've had was last year. I got taken to see the Rolling Stones at Ampfield in the sort of boardroom, and that was incredible because obviously amazing gig. They're still a phenomenal band despite their age, but it was just the fact that like it was a, you know, fancy dinner and then literally all the booze you could drink for free, and yeah, that was really good fun. But that was
those directors boxes at the matches are insane, man. I used to be in them all the time at London.
They're like that. The Liverpool one's just another level, really. Like I've never been in anything quite like it. It's not my normal environment. Like we'd the way it worked out was I'd been doing some ticketing for Liverpool on one of they'd had a screening. And we'd done some ticketing work for them, and there'd been a cock up in the process, and this guy basically spent half an hour on the phone just screaming at me for something that wasn't my fault and I couldn't do anything about, and it was nothing to do with me, but I was the one who's kind of fronting it up for the team. And then it all got fixed and no harm was done and everything was fine. And then obviously this guy's super apologetic, and so when the Stones came round, he was just like, oh, I'm still really sorry about shouting at you. I know it wasn't your fault. I was just under a lot of pressure. But would you like to come to see the Rolling Stones as my guest? And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then suddenly I'm like, you go to the ground and then you go into this lift and you go up up into the bit and you're just like, oh shit, I'm literally went to the loo and I was pissed out my head at this point, but I was next to Ian Rush, just having a wee next to Ian Rush. And honestly, like the child in me was just like, oh my God, I used to have your poster on the wall of my bedroom. This is incredible. But I don't think that's going to be how I feel. I don't think that's how I'm going to feel at Cosmoverse.
Dude,
it's not quite the same.
Right. That is the maddest thing though about directors' boxes, right? Before we quickly move on, yeah, is the people you meet in the corridors, like the long corridor that like run along them, and then they've got like the little turns around and like their toilets, etc. The people you'll meet like in the toilets or the cloakroom or walking up and down the corridors when you go into the box, it's ridiculous. Like you act like a proper fanboy. When I used to go, man, like all the old Sunderland players will be there. Our box, which was the T-Mobile box, yeah, it's the next box along to the Sky Sports, you know, the one where Jamie Redknapp used to be sitting in, yeah?
Yeah.
That's it, back in the day, Jamie Redknapp on Sky Sports. Proper, how long ago was that, dude?
I want to say that's got to be 10 years if it's anything.
Oh yeah, this 15? Was around. This was actually after I went back from Australia and I was studying to become a teacher. Bro, that was when Jamie was there anyway. But man,
Yeah.
like 2000 to 2004, like they used to have competitions all the time and we used to win the box beat mate regularly, you know. Right, it's Bendy. So I want to ask you, if you didn't mind, a question about the team. And it is a good question, I think, right? And you didn't have to really pick one particular one, but you're working on there with some gigabrains. I guess that you've been on calls or something with like pretty much all of them. Who's like proper like blowing your mind, like being like proper big brain, giga alpha, sigma?
That's an unfair question because you're asking me to pick my favorites, which is not nice. But like,
no, but the one that's like you've been like, whoa, I'm definitely low IQ here, you know.
So I would say that if I'm on particularly if I'm on like just a small call, if Xavier's on there, I try to shut up and just listen because that guy knows his shit, like really, really knows his stuff. But you know, I think that's probably true of most of the team. But like, he's one of those ones where you just think, better if he says something, because whatever I'm thinking, he's already thought of it, already come up with the answer, already knows what to do. So things like that are really awesome. But you know, I've really enjoyed. You know, I think who else have it? Dylan,
Well,
I've had some really good times with. So Dylan from Imperator. But I've, you know, Youssef and Better Future, like on their like Better Future when it comes to kind of like big long-term vision stuff, like his ideas for where blockchain should end up going are just great. And like, you know, again, the guy's got such a good sort of like business brain as opposed to just blockchain, which is that's really interesting as well, because you just think, oh yeah, you're around this all the time and you've seen this before and you know how it works and you know what's like, you know how people can pull the wool over your eyes, or you know, it's really fantastic because you just think, oh, there's so much for me to learn from being around those people. So, you know, but I do think it's an incredibly strong team, and I even think like people like Curious J, who's on the oversight committee and doing that, like, you know, the level of detail that he knows about so many projects. So you kind of go, oh, I was having this call, and he went, oh, well, you know, 6 months ago they were talking about this, this, and this. You should look this up, and you should go here. And I remember they were speaking to so and so, and you should check out this. And it's such a useful resource because you just have people that are plugged in to like everything, and they really, you know, it is that thing where you kind of go, oh right, I think I know my stuff, and I probably do, but there's just levels to this game, right? And some of the people I'm around are just phenomenal.
And you were breaking up a little bit there in the middle, Bendy. I didn't know if you were like walking around, but then it got better towards the end. Can I ask you this one? Does the boss man, I heard you mention Youssef, does he have to like lead from the front? Is he like the actual like nominated like main dude or something? Is he? Or
I mean, so he and Better Future are kind of like project managers. I probably Better Future's been was out in Asia for a while, so I've probably spent more time with Youssef just because of the way time zones line up with my working day. But you know, they go away and they, you know, they're the ones who are working full time, and they're the ones putting in, you know, the time on kind of like the biz dev, and they're speaking to people and they're building those relationships, and they're the ones really pushing forwards on the most kind of strategic partnership stuff, you know. So the stuff around like funding MetaMask, that comes from you know, obviously Sam Hart had some interactions on Twitter, and then, you know, then it was calls that Youssef coordinated to try and make sure that things would get across the line. And, you know, it sounds easy because everyone wants it to happen, but it still takes a lot of graft to actually make things a reality. So, you know, they're in the trenches doing the hard yards as much as anyone else. I think, you know, it's a lot easier in some ways just being someone like myself, where it's like, oh yeah, I'll go on, you know, I do some stakeholder management, I speak to some people, I make sure that we're aligned on our comms, but like, I'm not the ones having to partly sell the idea of Atom to people, and then also partly kind of do the, you're trying to do biz dev, but you're also trying to structure the best possible deals and negotiate. So you're kind of mixing sort of shilling yourselves and sort of appraising those of your potential partnerships, right? And so that kind of stuff is, and then again, when it comes to reviewing an application, that's relatively straightforward, right? You're reading what's on the paper, you're checking that it provides good value, you're making sure that the kind of due diligence is done, but it's not kind of, that's at the point where it's it's all in the funnel at that point. But the actual getting those applications in and making sure that they're the ones of best quality, that's where the hard yards are. And I can't fault Yusuf and Better Future for the work they've done there. They're the work rate's been phenomenal.
Sounds like they make a good team, yeah. I didn't realise that the two of them were in duality kind of running, but not running the show, but someone's got to manage project,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it is a they're doing it kind of jointly. I think Yusuf tends to have a kind of higher public profile. The Future isn't particularly keen on kind of doing a lot of public stuff. It's never, it's not his, it's not, he prefers to be in the background, but it's kind of.
Sorry, dude, I was saying the word you're looking for was it's not his forte, yeah?
Yeah, I think also preference. Some people some people are not, they don't want to be the person who's up on stage, right? They're quite happy to do the work. They've got really great brain. They can think about all the things, but someone else is going to be the one who fronts it up sometimes. And I think that again, what we've got is a good balance, because if everyone wanted to be the guy who's there on the stage, you've not got enough space. So I think it's been a well-constructed team so far, and nicely balanced, and that's been one of the impressive things. I know there was discussion when Prop 95 came up about it being like a pre-selected team, but I think that was kind of one of the merits of it in some ways, was trying to curate the right balance of personalities so that you have a high-functioning team. I'm not saying to be forever, but I think that if you go just down a kind of, if you were to try and just do kind of popular elections to these posts, you probably wouldn't get as well balanced a team as we have.
Now, I suspected that when this went through and then the grant system opened, I had a feeling you were going to get some nut jobs, right? Have you had any proper dodgy requests bro for grants or what? Why you just these are fucking scammers?
I mean, there was some people who were after what was it, NFT Nashville? No, that's just a joke. That's not fair. To be honest, the vast majority of applications I think have been serious. I think I tried to sort of articulate this a little bit earlier. Sometimes it's it's not that things are bad ideas, it's just that they're not going to meet the threshold at which we're going to put our resources into supporting them. What's been interesting is that the number where they've fallen slightly short, but we've seen potential and we've said, right, go away, work on this, come back. Because, it's we're going to need to rescope this, you're going to need to change your budget. So it's been a fairly iterative process. I think there have been some people where they've seen there's a grants program, and so they apply without really any understanding of Atom, and they just do and it's basically, it's just going to be another copy and paste thing. And they're like, oh, we'll bring this product to Atom. And it's that's not how it works, mate. You can't just stick your Solidity decks, on here. And it's, your innovative Unifork is not going to go on top of Atom and suddenly drive a load of value here. Or, we're going to create this, way to create a load of shit coins. That's not going to be the way it works. So I think there's been things like that, but for the most part, I would say that applications have been serious. We're having to be selective, because otherwise you just do if we approved every grant, you just run out of money almost immediately, right? And it's not the way it should be.
Mate, something that I've been thinking about for a very long time. I know you guys are going to be very careful, et cetera, with the money and the grants, blah, blah, but we all know dev work isn't cheap. I mean, if you are investing in quality projects, obviously Cosmoverse has already been sponsored. We kind of know what cash that is. I know there's other stuff going on. So the 8 million is, because it's not gathering any staking rewards or anything, right? It's just sat there. It's
we've got a little bit that we've liquid staked about 10%. We're going to do a bit more.
okay.
Because what we don't want to do is for it to be diluted, and run out of value that we can drive to the community. Again, there's a risk management element to that, right? Of just kind of trying to diversify.
What I was going to say is, when it's all said and done at the end of the day, right? Do you think, and I know I was just hypothesizing here, do you think that the Atom Accelerator DAO, if it could like prove success, blah blah blah, good management, etc., do you think it would go back to the hub? Do you think like people should expect that in the future, whether it's like 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, 3, or whatever, as long as you guys can go back and show like real like value, value accrual, but more importantly, I think the support of like public goods and stuff like that, yeah, and getting the name out there and getting the message out there. Like, do you think that's a possibility? Would there be another 95?
I would, yeah, I want it to go back. I actually want it to go back in a really, this is just hypothetical because it's not a decided sort of policy from anyone, but this is the way that I would want to see it done. Is I believe that this was a pilot. We have got 9 months to make things happen. If at the end of that 9 months, the pilot's successful, what I don't think is helpful is for it to be something where it's like, oh, this is going to exist for another year, and then it's going to have to come back again. I think what you want is a really sustainable argument where it goes, the community pool is going to commit X percentage on a per block basis to a grant program. And that you can then you could vote to change that parameter if we're not spending the money quickly enough or if we're spending it too quickly. But you basically go, actually, the community pool exists is going to be used intentionally. So whether it's like 1% of inflation, whether it's 0.1% of inflation, you basically say, we're going to take this, it's going to go through the distribution model, it's going to go out to the DAO, and it's going to be stuff that they can use and they have a runway then, right? And then there's a sort of a wind down process so that you basically go, yeah, if we're going to call it a day, there's this amount of time, because obviously we saw with the Juno Growth Fund, for example, that Juno was left with a number of outstanding grants that it needs to make payments of because the Growth Fund had committed to them and it had to decide whether it wanted to honor those debts or not. So there are some things you need to kind of structure in terms of like how you end the accelerator if you set it up. But I think that probably the most sensible thing in the long term, whether it's the accelerator in its current form, whether it's a different thing, I think there is an absolute need for business development on the hub. I think there's a need for multiple teams doing this. I really don't think it's one team. I think there are multiple teams that need to coordinate and they need to work together because we don't have a core team and we don't have a foundation. We don't have a Atom Labs. So we're going to have to create our own versions of these as a community, and we want to have them accountable. But then what you do is you want them to be almost on like gauges or something like that, where you just adjust the percentage of the community pool going to it on a block by block basis. And that way you can have like, yeah, you've got 3 months capital plus it's going to be refilled at X rate. And then it should become, it's not going to be self-sustaining because it's coming from the pool, but it should always be delivering value. And then at any point in time, the community pool can vote, the community can vote to turn off the tap or adjust the flow and think, you know what, we need more, we need less, we want to do this, we want to do that. And it's going to control it in that way, as opposed to what we have at the moment, which is you set up, you're going to run for 9 months. Like, that's not a great model for anyone because it means that, I mean, obviously, if the community said, pull the plug on the accelerator DAO, we'd return the money, but it's not actually there in code, right? And I think we have to get to a point where it's there in code, and we have to get to a point where you have that kind of granular control from the community to empower individual DAOs to go away and do pieces of work on behalf of the community. I think that's super important. I'm sure we'll get to a version there, whether that's for the accelerator or whether that's for other people. I'm less bothered. It's not so much about, I'm not particularly tribal about these things. I just think that's the best possible structure that the community pool could have, as opposed to it feeling like a, I think, people have called it a developer slush fund and things in the past. And I think, like, if you don't want it to be that, it has to have like an intentional purpose, like any kind of, like the tax that we're taking from stakers should have a purpose in its life, right? And that should be whether it's funding public goods, whether it's funding marketing efforts, whether it's used to acquire other tokens, whether it's used to diversify the treasury, whether it's going to be used for kind of investments like sort of VC style things. I like, who knows? But I think that's the model that we should be aiming for, as opposed to it being a on a prop by prop basis in these kind of time bound and very limited ways. I think that model seems to make more sense to me. So I'd be interested, because I haven't had this conversation hugely with many people. I just think it's the way that I see it reflecting much more of what happens in the real world. And I think that, one of the things is, like, I know that people want blockchain to be different, but I think that it's a good idea to learn from the way that things are set up in real life, as opposed to just living in the world of magic internet money.
Haha, magic internet money. I love that one. It never gets old, does it? Bro, I heard you mention community there. And I know, got to watch the time. This show's been going like nearly 3 hours. Finn is going to chop it up, though, for the interview to keep this a separate show, which I think is really good. I think it's really good that this has happened with your man from Delphi. And literally just a couple of days later, I'm like, do you want to come on the show? Bang, straight away. Again, very eloquently put, the answers very measured. Like, how to play this game. So my question here to you would be, are you the most like direct link, do you think, to, you talked about like Better Future in the background and stuff. Do you think you're the like number one, probably like public face of this DAO, or like most in touch with the community, most relevant to the community, or?
I wouldn't ever want to kind of like self-aggrandize myself too much. I think that like, the thing is that I probably am the one that, like, because part of my role on the DAO is to manage our socials, I'm the one that sees things where people are talking to the DAO, right? So I've very much chosen that when I'm replying, like, there's DAO stuff where that's DAO approved, like, comms. And then there's bits where it's like, oh, I just need to reply to this person. And so when I do that, I reply as me. And that's kind of my rule about it, where, nobody wants to be talking to a kind of amorphous blob. You want to be talking to a person. There should be some personal accountability there. I think I had a thing with Ray the other day. It actually kind of went to DMs rather than publicly, because I think he ended up deleting his tweets. But basically, it was when the MetaMask grant was added, it wasn't was announced. It wasn't on the dashboard, and he was like, "I can't see this. How much? What is it?" And basically, I replied to him and was like, "This is my fault. I have not had time to do the work to update the dashboard yet. I will do it, but it will be in a day or so's time." And but it's on me, it's not on the DAO. And it's really important, I think, that people know, if it's me dropping the ball, I want them to know it's me. I don't want to tarnish the reputations of the other people I work with. If I can't, if I've just not got time to do a particular piece of work, I was on, I'd already done about 2 additional hours for the DAO that day. I didn't have time to do the extra bit of work to get the dashboard up to date. So I prioritized the right work. I was going to, but then for me, it was like, right, I've just got to hold my hands up here, because someone is trying to find information they should be able to see and they can't see it, and that's on me. So I think that that's kind of how I see it. I don't think I'm necessarily the main link to the community, but I do take my responsibilities to the community deeply seriously. But I also think that, again, you'll see Curious Jay does a very similar kind of job in terms of replying to people. What he's responsible for is a lot of the kind of follow-up with the grants that we've issued, just seeing whether projects are on schedule, how they're doing, whether they're running into problems, are they hitting their milestones. So again, he's a enormous person when it comes to actually our accountability to the public. And again, he seems to take that responsibility just as seriously as I take mine.
I think a lot of people in the community, I think it sits a lot easier with the community, you being on there and actually coming out and talking to us. And especially if I go back to when we first started the space, you came on. Was it you that came on with Rena, right? Ages ago.
I couldn't make on with Rena, but I think I came or something like that, because I think at the time I was out at some Chinese New Year celebrations. when she was doing her one. But I came on like a few days afterwards or something, and I spoke to people then. But I've always kind of been willing just to front up and have a chat. I don't see any, what harm's it ever going to do?
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool because it does like kind of like, it smooths kind of any, like, I'm not going to say concerns, but people, we know that there's big funds being spent. We like the fact that there's like some oversight from someone who we can relate to as a community member, But dude, I'm pretty much out. They were all the talking points I had for pretty much the day. And I did want a little bit of crack, outside of that there, but Tank's come up. Tank, have you got any questions? And I don't know, Bendy feels like a guy. So the recorded one, we normally do a closed mic, but if anyone's got any particular questions, I'm sure Bendy will be more than happy if he's got the time to take them. But maybe Tank's got something.
Yeah, go on. Ask the question, Tank.
Hey, Bendy. Hey, Robo. Hey, guys. Sorry I joined late. I'm actually currently driving, so hopefully I'm not breaking up or whatnot. I just, I think you're absolutely correct. Bendy coming on and as consistent as he's been addressing the community and being, forward-facing with the community has definitely been something that I really do appreciate, especially from Bendy and the team. But I think I don't really have any questions, to be honest with you. Oh, yeah, I do want to say, hey, Bendy, I know we with all the efforts from me and the group, I hope to see or have you guys, I guess my question is, have you guys seen anybody submitting any things when it comes to like nurturing ICS 721 and NFTs for the Cosmos Hub? I would love to see you guys get some kind of like other projects wanting to do stuff or requesting for funding or anything like that, man.
Off the top of my head, I'm not aware of anything, but that what I've got to say is that I think I may have said this before you were on the call, Tank. I've got my first allocation of grants to review for batch 4, which I'm going to be doing over the weekend. So I can kind of only speak to the first 2 batches where we've issued the grants, and then there's a third one that's kind of in flight and will be closed off next week. I don't think of there being anything in the world of NFTs there. I think that one of the things that I think is really interesting at the moment is the sense that Cosmos may potentially take itself too seriously. There's a sense that NFTs are a bit frivolous, but I genuinely believe that an NFT based kind of consumer chain on Atom should exist. And I also think that, obviously NFTs have huge potential beyond, what they're doing at the moment. And I think they're really interesting in terms of some of the work that, people in this space have done in terms of like having communities rally around them. And I don't see there being any reason why that shouldn't be something that is funded. I just think that we need teams that really want to dig into that and can really articulate why it's going to be great for Atom. But I'd love to see a strong proposal on that. I really would.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that coming from you, man. Like, yeah, I can't wait to the day that you come out on any one of these spaces and let everybody know that there's a team or a group that's wanting to kind of like push that forward on whatever they're trying to build and incorporate NFTs. Keep us in the know, man. You guys are doing great work.
Oh, thanks, Tank. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm gonna, resonate that sentiment. Like that's very, very important takeaway, Bendy, because like I'm not gonna say maybe you've got like added pressure or whatever, but you're like reviewing stuff at the weekend, arranging interviews and that now. Like I think it's pretty good for you as well to be like, right, we are doing a good job. People are believing in us, and I think that might give you a little boost.
It's great to hear because, like, you like, obviously I'm being paid, so it's not like I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. But it is one of those things where you go, is it really worth it for the amount of time that I'm spending and the time that you're not spending with your family and you just think it's got to be making a difference, and you really hope that people are seeing that. So it's fantastic to hear it because that feels like that little bit of love just makes you feel like you're doing a job that is worthwhile. So thank you, I really appreciate it.
Oh, calm down. The word love's a bit too strong. Chris, Chris, do you want a good question for Bendy before we start wrapping it up?
This is the only way I can listen to these spaces as listening as a speaker.
No worries, mate. Chris, I would say probably even maybe, unless you really want to desperately listen, I would wait. Finn will have this edited and cut, because like you got 2 hours of us just like shit talking until we got to Bendy, right? So yeah, man, either skip to 2 hours where he kicks in if you want to go to the Spaces replay, or wait for Finn to put up a little show, because it could be good. And I'm hoping that maybe Bendy can share the proper show out, because like Finn's going to do a good edit, because a very good representation of the, if you're speaking for the AA DAO in a room like this and you conduct yourself like that, like, yeah, that should be a good, flagship for you, yeah.
Hey, before you guys do kind of wrap it up, I don't know, I just said it before, but after what Benny just said, like, hey, Benny, personally, like, you guys you're doing a great job, and I know it's probably very, very time consuming and overwhelming at times, but just recently reviewing what's been proposed and what has passed as far as the allocations from the Atom Accelerator DAO, like I can see it, I can see the investments, probably just like you guys saw the potential in investing in all of these things. Over time, it's drops in the bucket that are going to make the difference, and I think you guys are really making a difference. So thank you for sticking with that, man.
Oh, that's really kind, because I think it is. You're right. It's incremental steps, but I think that it's one of those things where not one thing is going to be a magic silver bullet. But I think that if we do enough of them, obviously there's people always talk about how you should build in bear markets. I think one of the great advantages that Atom has over a lot of other things is it does have enough liquidity to cope with building during the bear, and I'm really I cannot wait to see what this is off once we've been once we've done the full 9 months, funded 40 different things or whatever it ends up being, and then you start to get, once we get back into a bull market, the difference that it's going to make is going to be amazing. So like, it is a long-term game. I think that obviously in crypto, everyone wants short-term pumps and things in the price. But I think that really what we're trying to do is lay some very sustainable long-term foundations, because that has to be the way that we actually make the difference in to everyone in the long run, and it isn't just about sort of chasing the latest narrative. Like, I think we have 100% conviction that IBC and interoperability is the kind of that is the future, and it doesn't really matter what the current narrative is. But what does matter is having all of the best infrastructure and having really quality building happening there, and the right tools for people to do, and then short-term opportunities like MetaMask Snaps, right, where suddenly you can open it up to new users, and we can actually get Cosmos out there a bit more and make that a bit more accessible to people. That's really exciting. But appreciate everything you're saying, Tank.
Yeah, MetaMask Snaps, that's a good start. Let's see this grow. Let's see some long-term like value accrual, some, get the bloody public goods pumping again. So when the masses do come, we're equipped, Bendy, yeah, mate. I don't know if you want to say anything else, mate, but we're going to wrap it up, because that's a nice little hour interview, and our new rules are interviews are an hour, Got anything you want to say before close it out?
No, I just wanted to thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and to speak to everyone. And I'm sure we'll speak again soon. But if anyone's got any questions or anything about the accelerator, just reach out. You can, always find me, and I'm happy to talk to anyone. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what I was going to say, Bendy, is what I would recommend, dude? Like once a month. I mean, because that's kind of enough, but once a month, like, should do a tank show. Then the next month,
I was just gonna chime in and ask if you are up for sometime next week or maybe the week after, like just doing a review, just a catch up, so the community can see what's going on with the Atom Accelerator DAO, the progression and stuff like that.
Yeah, just send me a DM. We'll sort a time.
Awesome, sounds great. I will definitely do that.
it would be good, like like I said, once a month, like with like a different show, like you come on RAC FM, a few weeks in it you do Kang, the next month or something you pop on Joe. I mean, as long as if there's developments, kind of thing. But yeah, dude, from RAC FM, you've been a good friend, Bendy. We appreciate you coming on and giving us some of your time today, buddy. Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Someone's getting rugged, I think, are they? I hope it's not me. Anyway, I'm gonna close this out if Bendy's got nothing to add to it. Cracking show, cracking interview, guys. Finn will have this like chopped up very shortly. Definitely go and listen to the edits. Us earlier, just pure shit talking. But yeah, you got a good kind of insight into what's been going on over on the Atom Accelerator DAO. I've come away, the sniff test has been well and truly passed. That guy leaving, it's a bit of a much of a do about nothing kind of thing. Very, very easily replaced. And like Bendy says, he's only a third of the shoe. Someone else is doing a third of his role. Someone else is doing a third of his role. So, and it's the technical expertise people, etc., that are doing the particular thing or whatever their role is. So it's really good. Yeah, very, very bullish. Bendy, I'm going to close it out. Thank you very, very much, my friend. Take care, right? And I hope you don't work too hard this weekend, buddy, yeah? Dude, take care, right? I might have a little break and do an unrecorded one on my own account, Tank, right? It's a little break, right? Good night and God.
Sounds good. I'll look. All right.
Good night and God bless everybody, wherever you are. Stay safe and we'll speak to you guys soon.
Huh? What? No, I'm up. I'm up. I know. That guy does the longest outros. Sorry. Had to take a fucking beauty sleep there. So now that the interview is done right there in front of you, the first hour, the second hour is the Roundup, which was the first hour and a half if you listen live. But now it's the second. You know what? Going back to sleep.
At last. Back down as listener. Oh, back up as speaker.
There we go. So there was a Twitter update for iOS, Robo. I just applied it and rebooted, so maybe that was what was causing it. Yeah, I should probably turn on auto updates. I always forget. I usually keep them on for like iOS, but I don't keep them on for apps. I think I'm going to change that. That would cut down on this bullshit.
Yeah, mate, you've got to be careful with like bloatware and stuff, right? I make sure I streamline like my bloody device and shit, like, you know what I mean? But I don't have like auto updates on because like how many times,
yeah, it's scary to leave them on.
Dude, how many times have they done an update and it's messed up and complete app totally?
Yeah, and on iOS it's hard to roll back.
Good morning there, Queen Bee. I hope you're well on this fine Friday morning, yeah, for you.
Good morning, Bbandz. So what's up, Robo? Bendy, huh? What is AAD? What is AA DAO?
Oh, that's the Atom Accelerator DAO. I wonder what's up with B-Man.
Ah, gotcha.
Her microphone's not showing for me. Okay, wait a minute.
Me neither.
So can you, right, okay, if I click on a profile photo, it goes black, right? When I've done this with you, I came back and I could see it. I wonder if she's like trying to talk and we can't hear her, both of us.
So, no, I'm sorry. Oh. I was putting my child on the bus and my friend brought over some flour. We had a little toke together this morning.
Early this morning, I love it. Get yourself ready for the day, yeah?
Yep. My husband's golfing right now, so he's lucky. Gets to golf all day today. How is everybody doing?
Awesome. How are you?
I think I'm happy that I get to use the big computer with the 3 screens since my husband's is not here. So I think that's like the highlight of my day today. Oh, Kit's here. I love Kit. She's great.
Giga Brain. She is great. I was reading her tweets.
What was that? What did you say?
So yeah, she's a Giga Brain. I love reading her tweets.
I love when she like starts talking. Like everyone's talking about something, and then she starts talking at it at a higher level than everybody else, and you're like, you're like mystified a little bit, right?
Yeah. She was in one of those Gino rooms the other night with Reese, and they were having some conversations. I'm like, I don't know what the hell either of these people are saying.
You know, that happens to me a lot on, sometimes I'll go into these spaces. I'll take notes because I don't know what they're talking about. But I've noticed that after a while of like listening to it within the context of what's being spoken, I feel like more and more, like things have been starting to make sense. It's almost like my brain is starting to like understand some of the concepts. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's what I was about to say is over the years I've learned a lot, and I feel like I understand a lot at a high level, but there are definitely levels. But as long as you can get the concepts, that's the main thing. Because sometimes, like if Kit or a Reese or these devs, they start talking about stuff in detail, like you don't have to understand all the details. You just need to understand the concept of what they're trying to do. But it can be frustrating when you don't understand the details. That's like when Tank was trying to talk about the balance thing this week and everyone's brain was melting. It's because, conceptually you could kind of see where he was going or what he was saying, but they weren't grasping the details. And sometimes it just takes time more than anything.
I think Robo's having connection issues. Oh, no, he's there. Okay.
I'm back. Oh, I've had to go in and create cache and everything there. But yeah, Ray Raspberry was not impressed, right, with Balance the other night, right? Woohoo.
Yeah, I don't think Ray's wrong for his opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like he is saying, like you can't just apply something willy-nilly. You need to understand the bigger problem. I think Tank's thing is like, hey, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Like from a conceptual and a basic point of view, we know what's wrong, at least part of what's wrong. So I don't think either of them are wrong. It's just different viewpoints, different perspectives, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Bbandz, obviously that was a bit of a like bang on head to head. I know you were in and out the other night, like listening in. I don't know what you thought. Did you hear any of Ray's comments on Balance or not? Okay, she might be busy.
No. I did not hear any comments on. I'm sorry. I'm actually trying to get myself like situated right now. So I'm like running around the house and getting all my accoutrements. But yes, I did not get to hear, but I did hear that, there was a lot of pushback about it with Timmy and Ray, right?
Yeah, and for me, it was weird being there because like a lot of the information was new to me because I'd been to work and I hadn't watched it. It was when I was asleep in the middle of the night, right? And then I was like teaching in the morning and then I was teaching in the evening, right? And I had to get ready and across the city. Like I hadn't had time. And then I'm like listening and I'm like what exactly like transpired? Because people are talking about it like too complicated or something. People couldn't understand it. But then like Ray come in and said, like, if this was Tank looking at anyone else, like as an investor, he would just like shake his head, like blah, blah, blah. Like kind of weird vibes I got mine. Quite strongly worded as well. Like Ray didn't hold back, So
yeah, that's good that Ray didn't hold back. I think we'd all agree on that, right? And I don't think it's a personal attack. I think it's just and I would say this, he has applied that statement to more than just Tank. He has said that to a few people. Like, whoa, you guys need to slow down. We need to figure out what the issue is before you can fix anything. And that does make sense.
Yeah. I mean, what I had to say was the other night that it's again back to like having a burn module, There's this real epic quest to burn Juno. Like, isn't there? Like from certain areas,
And wouldn't you say, Robo, that you shouldn't burn just for the sake of burning? If you're just burning to create more scarcity, that's a short-term price pump fix and nothing else, right? It's bullshit, basically.
When you consider like what Juno is going to be used for, what it is, when the inflation ends, what the max supply is, etc. I mean, I really don't know. None of us know what the answer is to Juno. The best answer would be to let Reese run wild with the tech because he's gone through these upgrades. Boom. I mean, this kid is so laser focused, right? And invested, yeah.
Committed.
Isn't he just? And he's doing different stuff, right?
Yeah, even by the other day, he just put everyone on blast. Like, I'm here. Like, just let me do my thing.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't know what to say. It just, we already had like the burn mechanism conversation ages ago, and the prop, which actually didn't go up but was going to, but when the Commonwealth got feedback and some changes and stuff, or the second version was going to have some changes. Sorry, the big thing that everybody like moaned about at the time, like all the validators, loads of people, was the burn. And that's what they got them to take it out. They got them to take it out, didn't they?
But wouldn't you say what Tank is proposing isn't so much a burn as it is a transfer? Because if you're burning, but you're then replacing with a different token, and that token's value is like absorbing 80% of that value, then the other 20% is remaining as a new community fund. Like, I get what Tank's saying. I don't think it's just a like, hey, let's burn for the sake of burning. It makes a lot more sense what Tank is saying. And I'm not saying that everyone's going to agree or think he's right, but he's not promoting just a burn. I think there is a huge difference, and some people can't kind of dissect that part of it.
I think, you know what it is, right? Because I have missed a lot of this stuff, and I'm angry at myself that I have, because I'm like literally talking like with what 20, not even 25% bloody knowledge here of like the actual thing and the whole thing, how it works. I kind of like nearly switched off the other night a little bit. It was late for me. What was it, like 12 o'clock?
Sometimes you need a break, and that was late when they were having that conversation, and you came in the next day. So yeah, you would have been up at what, 3 a.m. that day?
Oh, dude, it was a stressful few days. Like that one I did on last Saturday, that 10 hours that Liz got me to start. Oh my God, honestly. When I looked at it, I didn't even believe we'd been going for 10 hours. I was absolutely ill, like shattered, Sunday, Monday, like nearly into Tuesday, bro. That's why I had some time off, yeah? That's why we didn't do a show until Wednesday. We only did Wednesday, and then we've had a bit of time off, you know? Nothing wrong with a bit of time off, right? Absence makes the heart go fonder.
Exactly. Sometimes you need a break, man. You guys run hard all the time.
Truly. So listen, question. I've been have you guys heard of the Bushi? Bushi? Bushi. It's a game. It's a game first. Yeah. So they've been building out, like, you know, their stuff on the, you know, just kind of like in the background, not really, you know, gaming, doing the game first and like the NFT later. And they launched their stuff on Secret, and now they're launching their battle pass on Stewie Network. Right? Is that how you say it? Stewie?
Oh, Stewie, SUI.
Yeah, SUI, yeah. So the mint's like, I think like $20, $24 or something like that. But I didn't mint it on Secret, but I'm kind of interested in doing it on the Stewie. And especially as awesome as that game, have you guys seen how cool that game looks?
I haven't. Like, what's it called?
It's called Bushi, 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 and then they're minting on June 6th on Stewie. So you need like a Stewie wallet. I'm gonna get a Stewie wallet and check it out. But you can see, like, the game is pretty cool. On here, I actually can I mint it, put it to the top? I'm just interested in it. I just talked to him like months and months and months ago. He had like there was like a Web3 Spaces, and he was on there. But anyways, I think it's cool. So I just wanted to share that. And then I have a meeting at 9:00 with the Juno people. So it'll be interesting to listen in, and we'll be able to share more information after the second meeting. So
this is a third-person shooter, and yeah, that's going to be like, I can't wait to hear what you guys do with the Juno meeting. What details come out of that? Yeah, this looks like a third-person shooter. Huh.
Is this the one with Gelato, yeah? Bbandz?
No, this isn't the one with Gelato. This is just Bougie. It's a game first before
it
was.
No, man. No, the meeting. Sorry.
Oh, not the meeting. Yes. It's at 9, so I'm gonna have to kick rocks at that point.
Yeah. Well, it's absolutely fine, because Bendy's not going to drop in until later. Oh, I'm going to need a bit of a call, because it's been another tough day today at the office. Like, tough all day, I tell you. 4 like really. No, listen to this. I had 4 like really clever, like top level guys, right, in procurement. But like they all work on different stuff. Like one of them does like takes care of like building kind of like the chief engineer for building cold like storage warehouses. Oh, like putting forward all the shit. Like one guy's in charge of like the packaging. Like these are all like high ups kind of thing. And oh my god, they run me for an hour like you wouldn't believe. Batter me. Even one of the guys just even wanted to talk about AI, but man, he was hitting me with everything like you think he could. Oh. But yeah, man, my brain's just getting in calm and motion now, Bbandz. Yeah.
Ooh, stop. Ooh, stop. Homestead, how you doing? You're up here with a mic. You haven't said hello.
He might have just grabbed it while he's on the school run. You know what he's like.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, he also maybe he was talking to the turkey or something, or his rooster, whichever one.
I keep forgetting its name. I keep forgetting, the rooster's name. He keeps telling me, isn't it Brandy or something, or Randy or something? No, is it? I think. Oh, it's killing me. I'll have to ask him when he comes up. Can no one remember, no?
It was Brandy, because you know that song, Brandy?
I just imagine he's
What a
like,
fine girl. What a good wife she would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea.
I wonder if he's like, I can imagine what he's like, this great big gigantic rooster just walking around like fog on, leg on around his garden like the best pals and that, I tell you what, the massive, those fuckers, they're all over here.
Are they? Like, I mean, you guys have, I mean, there's a lot of wild stuff kind of just walking around, right? Or that's not how it is.
No, they're cockfighting. I've all got them, man. All the fellas around here. Do you know cockfighting? That's massive. God, cockfighting is huge in Thailand and in like the Philippines and that. Like it's a national bloody sport, just like it is like obviously like in South America and stuff. Unfortunately, I fucking hated me. It's the worst. Like apart from dogfighting, probably it's like the worst kind of animal on animal shit you'll see. It's awful. Like, but yeah, they've all got them where I live, man. They're all kicking off 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not funny.
So I finally messed around with Kujira, like besides messing around like Luna, whatever. I checked it out and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool dashboard and the whole thing is set up nice. I easily bridged over funds and like it wasn't, I don't know why it took so long to even check it out. It was pretty cool. The decks and everything. Do you use it a lot, Robo?
Oh, I use it like, but I'm not like as regularly as like say something like Osmosis, like, but it's fucking beautiful. Like all of it, honestly. Like, and look what they've got like with the mobile sonar wallet and shit, man, dropping. It's like they're gonna go mental. Wasn't it who made the announcement about Kujira Gelato? Yeah, he's down there, is BI.
Yes. There was a pool. There is a pool. It's like a Gelato USK pool. When it first came out, it was like 1,000% APR. But you know how people like to splash the pool, right?
I saw that, yeah. I must say, mind, when I was listening to them, did somebody mess around with like the house or something, right? Yeah, I was trying to do stuff as I was trying to listen in, and I only caught the gist, But they were like the proper like addressed it, like, didn't they? Like bang, 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 bang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they said they didn't want to. They hadn't put out community funds yet, so which is good. When that exploit happened, they tried to.
When something like that happens, right? But the same with raccoons. Do you know what matters? It's how you like handle yourself, how you like hold yourself, like in public arena, in the public square, which is like Twitter Spaces, yeah. Think about it, right? Isn't it though? Like any code, like has a possibility of being able to get like exploited, right? If you look at what we've seen, right? And it's not even like about code and stuff. Like it can be like about like probabilities, or could be flash loans. That like I would say probably about 7 or 8, maybe, I don't know, but there might be a little bit less or more, like scenarios where you can kind of clarify it as like, because hacks and exploits are different, aren't they? Really, yeah. We all know
what an exploit is when they just kind of use the contract, find a way to use the contract in a way that it's not intended.
Yeah, but the contract allows.
What's the difference between that and a hack, like a hack?
Right, a hack is when a malicious actor would like specifically target you and go after you. You're like try to get through your security to get to whether it's information, whether it's money or whatever else, right? Knowledge, IP. Whereas like an exploit is like, say, what happened on the flash loans, right? With White Whale and Raccoon and the casino, yeah. But like where it could do like a double transaction within the same block because of the flash loan, right? And basically, it's just a perfect example of that the code wasn't right. And that's why, like, Moll and them were like, hey, like, they literally come straight out and just said, hey, it's on us. The code wasn't strong enough. Like, they weren't aware. I mean, to be fair, when they deployed, flash loans weren't on Juno. And then obviously after the Terra crash, and to help them build Migaloo, right, not long before they launched Migaloo, they released flash loans on Huahua, on Luna, on Juno, and on another one, a fourth one. Can I think of it? And pretty much like straight away they were used on the gaming contracts, right? Anyway, they came out and said straight away, like, bang, right, this is it. This is the recovery plan. This is, and they're going stronger today. That's what I'll think about Gelato. This will just reinforce them as a team even better. They'll have like loads of eyes on their OPSEC. I heard Risby, I think it was, or somebody mentioned about like someone could be watching the room of something. I think I presume he was meaning like counting the cards or something. I'm not too sure there. Risby throwing an emoji up with you want to talk to a proper bloody card counter, don't you? Someone like Eric, from Astrovault. That's who you want to be talking to about that shit. You know what I'm talking about, Bbandz?
Like a counter, like in real life, or like on the computer, because I'm a little confused. I don't know.
Eric proper counting cards back in the day. That's where he's like tokenomics genius shit comes from. But I'm telling you, man, with that kind of shit, man, that's the kind of big brain you speak to. He knows all that shit. I like when they were talking about the probability and that all last night. Really interesting stuff, like, and fucking hell, that game's not done bad, like, is it? 800,000 Gelato, man, or something, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And I like I'm kind of excited about the little collection that's gonna be released, even though I'm too poor to afford it. It's like 69 pieces, but it's all it's all Maria's art, you know what I mean? And it has like kind of like bondage a little bit, like kind of little naked woman from Cosmo art and stuff like that. So I think I'm kind of excited to see it.
When's that dropping? I didn't get all the way through.
July.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like literally trying to like make sure I have all of my stuff ready for this meeting. I was like, okay, I got everything open that I need. I have 4 screens. I'm ready.
How many screens?
I have 4 screens up right now.
Oh my goodness. What did you think about who won?
And one like laptop screen that I'm using.
What did you think about who won the raffle ticket for the Wheelchair Mafia? Did you see that?
Oh, I gotta look at that. Hold on one second. Let me pull that first information you asked me for.
Tidbit from Notional.
Oh yeah. Lil. I think I was calling him Lil for a while. No, that was Lil Bits or something.
Yeah, Tidbit. That's what I call him. I nicknamed him Tidbit ages ago.
So it's looking to launch possibly like second week of July 9th, that kind of time, and then 50,000 stars public sale. So price, I guess, so whitelist price to be determined. So
interesting.
Yeah. I was like, Bbandz, Mr. Bbandz, I think I'm gonna have to send you out there turning some tricks so I can pick up one of these NFTs. And he's like, I'd shave my legs. And I'm like, good, get out there now.
Oh my goodness. How long are you expecting this meeting to be anyway? How long was the first one?
It was like an hour and a little bit more than an hour. I mean, just about that much. I think an hour is good because people start kind of like, I think people can just start losing interest or start, rambling or whatever. I don't know. I just think an hour is good, right? For a meeting?
Yeah, pretty much. I would say, unless you're fucking planning on like discussing building a company or something.
Okay, well, these are the initial meetings, so I understand there's probably gonna have to be longer meetings, but I'm just guessing.
Going back to this thing, what Chris was talking about there, right, earlier, and the balance stuff and the burn, etc. Like, what needs to be done is it needs to be done like down, right, in like a flow chart or whatever, right? Like, we have to start at the fundamental fact of, does Juno need a complete overhaul of its tokenomics, right? To make a more sustainable.
There's about 3 things that they are really looking on tackling, and to successfully be able to restructure things, that has to be part of it, and everyone's got to be willing. So we'll see.
Well,
but yeah, I can't share too much. I'm trying to be careful because I'm supposed to wait till the second meeting or until everyone agrees what can and can't be shared.
Oh, come on. It's quite easy. Look, they haven't really got a problem with development, have they? No. They haven't really got a problem like with security, have they? No. Have they got a problem with communications? Yes, they have. Have they got a problem with the economic model? Probably, maybe, but like, it's part of a much bigger conversation, that one. Like, there doesn't need an overall on its tokenomics is a huge, isn't it, kind of like conversation. Like, that's a big one. And it's like so many different routes that like you can take,
Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's, when you have a lot of stuff inside and you just want to burst with like and tell everybody everything, but like you cannot. That's how I'm feeling right now. I've been feeling like this for like 3 days. I'm like, I just want to talk. I just want to share what was said, but it's not good. I need to not and wait.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
Let's talk about those.
Did you see the Jacob NFTs? Yeah, we had to put them up today for Flix,
Super sexy, super sexy. I think that do you think he would like, I don't know, come back and like be angry because he has like the sausage thing?
Oh, he's already
like, sue people or something and say you guys are not being very nice to me. It's bullying.
No, he's already seen it. He's already seen it and laughed about it when we had the show. We showed him, and he got there. And I've been waiting for him building his DAO. He's called Notional DAO, and they haven't even got a DAO. I've literally been waiting for ages so we could send it from our treasury, because it's in our treasury, right? To him, I said we'd send it as a gift, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll get it." The tidbit to set one up. Still waiting. What can you do, Bbandz? Come on, I've tried.
Sorry, I'm here dealing with the dogs and running around and shit.
You're cool,
I need to
man.
get myself together. I need to get my freaking life straight right now.
So yeah, so I was on Omniflix today, and I saw KRIS on there as well. KRIS, do you like using Omniflix? Like, yeah.
I do. I love, like, minting on DAO is pretty easy. I would say Omniflix is almost just as easy. There are a few quirks that are a little bit different on Omniflix, but they are constantly improving. You know what I'm excited for, Robo, is the bulk minting. That the actual Fight Farm collection I want to do. That's 600 UFC fighters at roughly 50 NFT cards per fighter. That's 30,000. So I've been waiting for like bulk list. So I haven't got to test that. But just going through and like minting out these small collections I've done, it's been pretty easy. I've made some mistakes. And I think that but I'm kind of like, I'll go and report and say, hey man, have you guys considered this? Or just from a UI UX perspective. And of course, I'm not the end all be all. They got to consider everyone's wants and needs. But yeah, I would say if I was given on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give them a strong 9. Robo, what do you think?
100%. 100%. When they add some features and the TV, and it's going to take right off. Absolutely take it off. I'm telling you.
TV is going to be awesome, and communities.
Yeah, and I can see their like a kind of staking platform being used more as that other side of the business grows as well. And you will see like real value capture like eventually for flicks. So yeah, I did the bulk editions today. So have you messed around with it since they put them new features in, like the editions? Yeah,
I haven't.
So I did that.
I need to.
Did you do the POA? Yeah, for last week.
Yes.
Well, I airdropped that today, but there's a problem, and the problem's not on our end, right? And it's provable, obviously. On I haven't fucked this up, right? I've only fucked one up so far, right? And I didn't fuck the two wraps up, by the way. Shout out, Robo. Dude, it's that only the pictures shown at the minute, but on the IPFS, it is actually on there, right? The audio, the Brasco put together, and for somehow on that back end, it's not like thinking up.
And I don't have it yet. Yeah, it's weird if the picture would show. That's probably a front end issue for OmniFlix showing it on the front end, right?
Bro, you should have the one that we've dropped, right? Today. Of course you should.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. And you know what? I actually was curious, Robo. So that was the question was about Liam, right? Because this was from the Liam interview. And I remember when I was watching it, and then when you interact, it popped up and it asked like, "What's Liam's YouTube channel?" And I went to click it, and I knew what Liam's channel name was, but I went blank for a second. So I switched over to YouTube and quickly pulled it up. When I switched back, the question had disappeared. So I was like, I wonder if that counted as my interaction or if I lost it because I didn't answer. But then when you try to replay through a second time, the question would never pop up again on the screen.
Right, yeah, because, dude, even so, like, let's say that you've messed it up, right, and it comes through as no. I still put all the addresses over from the sheet.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Yeah, so it'll see my address interacted. That at least posted, even though I didn't answer the question.
I tell you what, man, if you wanted a DM, I can search to see if it's on the spreadsheet for you, so you would know. Because you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah,
I'm going to close down that spreadsheet that we've got online because I've asked people to put all the ones that they're missing. Oh, Bbandz, I know you're missing a couple, right? So today, I've just dropped the 5th one. I haven't even heard anybody say they got it yet, I think. But yeah, there's a problem with the audio on their back end, Chris.
Yeah, I saw your tweet this morning and I went and checked. I'm like, it's not in my wallet on Flix yet.
But you've got the others, have you?
Oh yeah, I've got all 4 of the others. Because I went and double checked and you said you was going to have the amnesty moment. I'm like, let me make sure because I really want to get to 10.
Okay, that's interesting, like, bro, because they should be dropped in automatically. And I sent them out like hours ago.
Yeah, let me DM you my address just to make sure. Because maybe if I not answer the question, maybe it didn't populate my address.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And something afterwards, it might have just thought that you have done it and it keeps rejecting you or something, You didn't sign anything on the block, did you?
When I think it's still populated in Kepler for me to sign. But what was weird was like after the question disappeared, when I would go back the second time to watch it, it would say you already interacted. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, they'll get it because I already interacted.
Right. Okay. No problem, mate. Do me a favor. Just drop a do no Addy because I get a feeling. I think I did this with DeFi Don. He said something about this because then he asked me and he went, "Oh, kick me out."
A Juno or a Flix Addy? A Flix Addy, right?
A Flix Addy, yes. Sorry, did I say Juno Addy? Did I or not?
Yeah, I said Juno.
Sorry, Flix Addy. It's because my phone had unlocked and I'm trying, I couldn't get the fingerprint to work there, and I'm like, oh shit, I'll have to do the PIN code. So my mind just like, dude, yeah, just pop us an Omni and I'll put it on because I'm gonna send Al the spreadsheet now. I'm just going to get it. So I'll just put on exactly what's missing and put the address on the spreadsheet like everybody, and then bang, Bob's your uncle, right? Hey, the wheelchair mafia, nearly 50%. Well, it was earlier, it's on 49%. There's like another 200 ready, like sitting there, yeah? Right, wait a minute, let me share this tweet. Right, Al, I'm going to send you this over, dude. So, Chris, you were asking me, oh, look who's turned up. He's your man, TerraSpaces. Chris, you were asking me about the Atom Accelerator DAO, right? So, the news the other day, you must have heard us talking about it, me and Finn, when we were on that shit talking FUD space, right?
Yeah, I heard part of that. I was in and out of that one.
Oh, we were only like stirring the pot, mate, getting them laughing anyway. But yeah, man, the guys left like pretty quick. Conflict of interest. It's like, okay. I mean, within like 3 months, like, round about 3 months since the formation or whatever. It's like, I don't know when the first tranche went out, but they've been gone about 3 months, right? Pretty quick, isn't it? To be having
but they didn't clarify what they meant, right, on conflict of interest.
No, they didn't. But they did mention a couple of other things. Yeah. Shout out Al, by the way. Check your DMs, Al. Spreadsheet amnesty things on there, bro.
Maybe I'm really excited right now, but I just figured out how to voice to text. I know I'm sure everybody probably already figured that shit out, but I was like, I want to do voice to text. And as you were talking, I got it to record it and immediately put it with punctuation on my screen. I'm happy right now. Okay.
How are you doing that? Are you using like what you're using? Is it an iPhone or something?
No. Okay, well, I'm talking on the iPhone, but I'm using my laptop, right? Holy cow. Holy cow, I'm so happy. So you hit that little Windows key and plus the letter H, this box on the bottom, like a record box will appear, and then you open your notepad and then you go in your settings and you have to like turn on voice typing launcher and automatic punctuation, right? And then you have your notes thing open, and then as you hit it, it'll put it right on your screen on your notepad and with punctuations perfectly.
Do you know what? You're a Fed. You're going to be recording this meeting, aren't you? You're a Fed, I bet you.
No, the meeting's already recorded, so I am just, these are my, anyways, notes. I just need this for notes, okay? It helps with notes.
Transcribing. You'd be transcribing the entire thing and it'd be straight over to the NSA. Oh, I tell you.
Oh, no.
Can you remember? I remember back in the day, man, there used to be like spaces where there was mad people just slagging each other off as Feds all the time, man. So I used to go in some of them rooms, man. They were messed up, I'm telling you. How's your game development coming on, Bbandz? Quickly change the subject.
Spraylight's been super, like this past month has been super busy. Like his wife got hurt. She like dislocated her elbow, and then he's been super busy with work. So we just kind of like slowed down a little bit, but it's all good because it's a free thing. It's not like we're selling anything. So
yeah, I knew it was like just like a little pet project, but I know you were quite like buzzing to be able to just create something that people were going to like want to use and enjoy, right?
Yeah, I'm super excited to start doing the tiles. Like I think it's going to be fun. And I don't know, I'm excited about it. I like hobby projects.
I haven't spoken to you right all week since the weekend, but so the format with Finn the other night, right? Did it work or did it not?
I think it was a great show.
Oh, I like that. Short but sweet, to the point. Yeah,
there was nothing. It was good. It had a good flow and everything.
And we went into that with absolutely nothing prepared whatsoever, even like between us. We just hadn't discussed kind of like anything. Kind of mad, like, I think, like, but you can kind of bounce like that, like a big like rapport, and just like, I don't know, it's not really about fun or anything like that, really, is it? It's about like just putting people on. Sorry,
my dogs drive me crazy. I didn't realize that I was unmuted.
Oh yeah, right. It's just about putting the world on notice that, like, you haven't got to be like alone in your thoughts about what's going on, like about, who's taking advantage of who, or who's a bit fucking shady here or a bit shady there, blah, blah. It's just about spitting facts, right? But with also some jokes involved, like try to make it funny and relatable so at least people can like laugh along. And you know what? like I said, Ambedo, it's just all tongue in cheek, right? But it has like a layer of truth, like running through it, you know. But it is like literally all spoken as pure tongue in cheek. That's it. And I had good fun, me. It's one of the funnest shows I've had in a while, I think. Oh, did you catch Ryan the Lion, Bbandz? Chris, did either of you catch him the other night?
I missed that one. I forgot what I was doing. I started to listen to the very beginning, right when you guys started, and then something had come up.
Well, it got rugged. The spaces got rugged, right?
That's
Joe's-
what it was. You had to relaunch it.
Yeah, but it was unrecorded. Finn got it though. So that's, I mean, I haven't had time this week to go back. I am going to go back and listen, but I just wondered if like you or Bbandz had caught it. Oh, I want to watch that to find out about the success of that DAO, man.
What was your biggest takeaway on that one, Robo, with Ryan?
No, I haven't seen it yet, bro. Oh, sorry, I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh no, I meant when you spoke to Ryan.
Oh Jesus, I can't even remember when that was, dude. How late was that in the morning for me? Was that last week or something?
You're talking about when Ryan was on Joe's show.
Yeah. That's
the
road.
one you haven't seen yet. Gotcha.
Yeah, well, you can't see anything. I thought it was going to be on YouTube as well, but when I went to YouTube, it wasn't there. Anyway, apparently Finn caught it, and it's up. So I'm definitely going to catch it this weekend. So I've got to build some PowerPoints this weekend. Oh, fuck my life, PowerPoints. I hate them.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen to that. Will help you power through the PowerPoints at least.
Do you know, mate, I'm not actually that bad at building, like making a PowerPoint up like these days. If you get like a good template or you've already got good templates. But it's like, so the first book, the first course that we're doing next Friday, the first workshop is decision making, right? Executive decision making. And it's only like a 1 3-hour lesson, bro. There's like 37 pages in my first book. The second one's a bit shorter. But man, there's going to be loads of PowerPoint slides. I bet it's 120 to 100 maybe between 120 140 slide presentation for the lesson. I would estimate easily. Haven't done them before.
That's super long.
Oh, it's brutal, dude. And I've only like sketched out the lesson plans and got like a chat GPT to help me. So I really do need to like put them in, tidy those up this weekend and put them in like company format as well. Because when I've done the first one, I've got to send in all the material to the company, like my company. And then it's already been approved and stuff like, but they just need it all in the library. Then I've got to write like a little like summary kind of thing, summary and conclusion about it before I get paid, you know. But it's just, dude, this admin, man. I only have to do it certain times of the year. And like right now, I've got like 2 piles of like pre-tests sitting there ready for me to mark. Like one class of 15, one class of 17. I'm looking at them like, oh, you can wait.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of busy work.
Bro, teachers do insane work in the background. Absolutely insane work.
Yeah, I've got teachers in my family, and man, hard workers. So much that they do, and definitely underpaid, all across the board. I think.
Mate, if you're in like a school, especially if it's like, say, like a high school or something like that, right? I'm telling you what, you absolutely work for your money. Junior schools and high schools, what we would call like juniors and seniors, holy moly, man, you work for your money there. So designing the curriculum, like, you know, even before that, like during the holidays, you got to like go and do your own curriculum, got to execute these lesson plans. Oh, they're a real pain in the backside, man. And you've got to go jump through all these hoops in places like America or the UK, you know, like these proper countries, yeah. Fuck that life. That's why I'm here, mate. And that's why I'm doing corporate. Aye. It's like one of the easiest, cushiest like numbers there is, right?
It's much smarter to do that than it is to teach like your local high school, especially if you're willing to travel and relocate.
You know, before your woman goes, Chris, let's get our opinion quickly. So, Bbandz, did you see my tweet yesterday about the prop that went up? Yeah.
Hold on. Did you do it from your account? I'm sorry.
My proper account. No, you saw the prop, didn't you? Did you not see it yesterday? On no, our prop. The prop on Core 1. Zeke and Noah, and Veston getting cancelled for now.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
From Jake, yeah.
I did. I saw that.
Proposal 64 states that projects receiving Core 1 funding should open source every component related to their project, while Zeke, it doesn't actually, because there can be closed source, like while they're in just their testing, right? As long as it's not a wallet. If it's a wallet, it has to be like the key section has to be open source from the start. I think that's one of the rules. So it says every component related to their project, while Zeke and Noah contribute to other projects benefiting the Juno ecosystem, they spend much of their time on DAO, where not every component is currently open source. This proposal cancels Zeke and Noah's vested developer grants while we work out a sensible path forward and further refinements to Proposal 64. This does not reflect on the quality of their work, and we hope to continue to work with them in the future. So that reads right at the end, we hope to continue to work with them in the future, meaning, we've broke ties with them for now. But we'll hope to be able to arrange something for them to come back. That actually sounds a little bit, I was like, wait a minute. That ended.
And of course, Max, Juno, Frey, and Demi all voted no, and Jake was the only one that voted yes. I didn't gather that part when I saw your screenshot yesterday. Shit, I didn't realize that. I saw your screenshot. I didn't realize Jake was the one that made the prop.
Yeah, because he's been getting shit. Jacob's been gone mad for a few days about DAO, closed source and all the front end contracts when it's supposed to be open source because it's had funding. Like DAO's had direct funding from Juno. They got 500,000 Juno back when it was worth a lot of money. They've had more since, I think, as well. I mean, I saw him in the Discord, but dude, you've just surprised me because I saw Jake when I posted this. Yes, there was only one. Because I've got the notifications on, right? And it was obviously my time. I only saw one vote. So wait a minute, Max, Demi, who else voted no?
Frey.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, Max, Juno, the Frey, and Demi all voted no.
Anyone vote yes? I haven't gone back.
Only Jake.
Okay. And that's enough to meet the quorum and take it, is it? Their voting's 4 days or something? 4 or 5 days, is it? Well, they might have shortened it. Still quite long, though. Interesting. See, they spend much of their time on DAO. I wonder if this is a case of, see you later, Bbandz. I wonder if this is a case that Jake's gonna maybe pay them out his own pocket here. Do you think?
I would think yes. He seemed pretty adamant about closed sourcing at least the front end and stuff until they, I'm assuming that all stemmed from the issues with Stargaze and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, he's probably got the funding. He's paid people before. I would think if he's ending this, he's just gonna pay him out of pocket.
Yeah, this is quite a weird one. This one, I think, it's quite an interesting one to watch. Yeah, to keep an eye on. Right. That prop, the very fact that prop has is going to fail or has failed, whatever. The very fact of that is I don't know whether that's Jake virtue signaling. To Jacob and them. All right, look, I put a prop up. The others voted it down, but maybe it was always going to be.
I didn't think about it like that.
Oh, well, of course. Oh, there's not just Jacob being saying things, but a lot of people speaking quiet in proper channels. Yeah.
So
and I know that.
What do you think about them closed sourcing it, Robo?
I know exactly why they did it, but. You can't have this conversation about, this being the bastion of freedom, and it's two-faced is not what I want to say, how I want to describe. I don't know. I just know that They did it because of enterprise and nothing else, right? That's it.
Oh, Enterprise, not Stargate.
Well, of course.
Enterprise. Okay, that makes more sense.
I thought you knew. Did you not know about that? No. Oh,
Well, I mean, I haven't even set up Enterprise yet. I went over there to set it up the other day, and I just was getting started, and I had an emergency pop up. I'm gonna go toy with Enterprise. So my understanding was it's a good DAO, good software, but it's not as many features as DAO. So you're thinking they're doing this to keep Terra from taking any of DAO's features and blowing them out of the water.
Yep. I mean, listen, call it a conspiracy if you want. I'll just call it like, I don't know, my thought process, yeah? Like literally Enterprise blew up over like Ryan, like literally just blew up really, really quickly with like Ryan DAO. Obviously they've got like a kind of lot of functions that DAO haven't, but they've got an amazing like front end responsive. They've got enough to get you going to build up a little economy like what we've seen with Ryan, right? But they just need all of this other like kind of like back end kind of code, don't they, right? Yeah. Or they'd love to be able to get their hands on certain stuff and some be it like the front end stuff as well. So Enterprise has put the shits up them and they've done this, and now everybody's like, oh, look at this two-faced, or well, you're seeing this on one hand about, open source and all of this shit. Because I mean, those lot have been quite vocal with Kujira as well, right? Like, I know I've been there in spaces with Jake when he's been going on about Kujira and closed source, and I know how he feels about it. But yeah, man, like, it's really interesting, isn't it? That they've had all of this, like, open source for ages and ages and ages, and then another DAO comes out, makes a massive impact, yeah? I was talking about them, etc., then bam, the lock up.
Well, there's good devs over there. Eventually that'll get open source, I'm sure. But I think Terra, they have excellent devs over there. Their stuff's always been snappy on the front end too. So I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm still a DAO fan, but I don't think it hurts to go over there and learn Enterprise. I know you guys have done that as well, right? You're already over there and set up.
You know something, bro? It's going to be really interesting, the DAO wars. Do you know that we were talking about like DAO wars like a year ago? And they had the wrong idea. It's not DAO wars within like DAO. It's the DAO wars, DAOs against each other, DAO against Enterprise and all the other stuff, right? Like, they've built a blockchain to accommodate DAOs. I mean, Q blockchain. And they've got like this community like process shit going on. Like, dude, there's a lot of like people doing, interesting work and heavy projects, etc. Like on DAOs. That's like where the real competition sort of lies, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's not going to be just it's not going to be just these two. You would have to think there's going to be other chains that spin up their own versions of competing DAO software. I think some of them will do it just to spite Juno and DAO.
Well, if people listen to what like we've been saying for ages, their model, DAO, right, is they shouldn't be worrying about bloody front ends, right? DAO, it should be the DAO as a service. That's the crack. Yeah, it should be.
And I wouldn't be opposed. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to like you had suggested prior with the DAO chain. I think it's strong enough of a product. It could be its own app chain for sure, and you could service it out to different. Speaking of that, so we know Stargaze is going to have a version of DAO, and they're going to change it up to meet their needs. So what about Omniflix? Is their community's product going to be a version of DAO as well?
I'm not sure on that one, mate.
And then how do they monetize that? Is it a fee just to implement it, or do you think there's a fee for like during the setup process for every new DAO that's set up? Does it take a fee of treasuries? Like if Robo is going to monetize DAO, like what would be your three basic revenue streams from DAO?
We talked about this before, man, with Rama, and I'm telling you, like, it's like how exactly how? All right, which route do you go? It's a minefield, an absolute minefield. Rama was telling me that there's probably like not even plans to like monetize like for the first few years, which I thought that was okay. That's quite a long time, isn't it?
That seems like too long to wait. I would like, okay, so if that's the case, if it's not going to be the first few years, like, what's the thought process behind that? Like, what is your advantage to waiting? Besides the fact that you don't want to seem like you don't want to lose users who say, well, there's free DAO products everywhere else. Why would I pay you? Well, I get it, maybe, but you can always have free trials, your first 3 months free, your first year free. You can do different packages to get people the first few months free to test it and track them.
Bro, I mean, you mentioned something there, right, about what I said. I mean, I have to ask you this, right? People have like totally and utterly fucking talked out to me about Fork and Juno. Like, wouldn't Fork and Juno be probably one of the best use cases for Juno, no? I really believe that you could fork it and you could leave all the shit behind. And it's not that it necessarily would go to like being a ghost chain, but probably people could experiment more over there, like, and have it more of a Wild West and have DAO chain as a more kind of, I don't know, civilized chain. I know you're never going to have proper civility on a permissionless chain, like, but I just feel like a change in tokenomics, maybe leave the wheel drama behind, leave all this old baggage and have the DAO chain. And DAO could be a massive product, man, if they like get there, like, if they want to be in UI and they want to be direct, then they bloody need to sort it out, don't they? Because we've all been sick of it, like KRIS, at one time or another, right?
Yeah, for sure. I always thought Juno's number one product that would draw people in would be DAO. But I think our number one point that kills us is the constant negativity and drama. And it's like everything the tech does, everything DAO does, anything good like Gelato or Raccoons or, yeah, I think any projects that are here building, they just get overshadowed. Like, people on Twitter see the nonsense and they're like, I don't even want to be a part of that. They don't care how cool the tech is. They just don't want to come deal with a community as toxic as we are sometimes.
Well, even look at what's happening, like Raccoon. Do you not think like Raccoon are proper looking abroad at all of these things like Neutron, Archway, Luna 2.0? Like,
oh, I'm sure.
I mean, they were looking at Lunk, but like they're like, well, I mean, the Luna contracts, I think they're not that far away from being done.
I'm the same way. I love DAO and I want to have DAO-based games, but you can't be on a chain that's not successful and expect your product to be successful. So that's one reason why I've like started messing with OmniFlix a little bit, and I would be interested in seeing. Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, thanks. That's one reason why I would probably look at other chains like Archway and other chains, which I'm still like, I hope Juno can be successful. I think we could all make it successful, but there's just so many moving parts.
Bro, someone just bought the first Jacob on OmniFlix. So if anybody wonders what we're talking about the NFTs. If you look in the nest, you'll see like there are only 15 Jacobs. And that's an interesting one, actually, because, you know, KRIS, do you know, like the people, well, you probably know who I mean, but people went right after Raccoon about being closed source, you know. There were several confrontations, like online and that, like on spaces about it as well, you know that. You can guess who come after us, can't you?
Yeah, and I've heard about it. I wasn't around back then, so, and, you know, I get it. I've always been kind of an open source guy myself, but I'm also not putting all my time and effort into developing software like these guys are. So I don't think that it's bad early on to keep people from stealing your product, as long as your intentions are to maybe open source it long term. I'm kind of like, decentralization is not an on or off, a 1 or a 0. It's a spectrum. And I think sometimes people got to do things in that spectrum that may not be as decentralized as what people would hope, but there's always, you know, that gray area.
Well, bro, you know, they've got proprietary gambling fucking probability code there, right? They're not going to give up that fucking code for free. Like, how many people how many people know like how long it took to like write or whatever, or do you know what I mean?
Well, you don't have a good pathway to monetization in Web3 yet. That's like a successful way to monetize. It's still like the Wild West and figuring that type of thing out. I think raccoons or anyone that closed sources things early because they don't want to just have it stolen. But the argument of that's going to be like, well, how do we know that it's really, random, and how do we know that it's secure? There's always going to be those arguments if it's closed source, right? And I can see both sides of the argument. But at the same time, it's like, dude, if you don't trust their software, there's plenty of options. You don't have to use it. If you don't like their closed source, there's plenty of options out there where everything's open source. I'm like that. There's things I pick and choose on what I use because open source may or may not be important on that specific product. If I'm playing a raccoon game, I'm not that concerned with how random it truly is. I mean, if they want to retain customers, they're not going to cheat their customers. So,
bro, how cool is this? Talking about the sausage hunter, Mr. Open Source Extraordinaire himself. We've just actually sold out the first one. And you know what? I was waiting for this because I wanted to see with it being the editions, like who would buy like what number. So like I was thinking, I bet people go for like lucky numbers rather than like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? And it's because it's the same NFT. There's just 14 editions of the same NFT, right?
So what was the first number sold?
14.
Oh wow!
That's
I would have expected 7.
That's someone's birthday. I was thinking either 1, and if it wasn't going to be 1, I'm thinking 3 or 7. I think definitely 3.
Yeah, I would think 3 or 7. 7's always considered kind of a lucky number. Where is it? 8 in China is considered lucky.
It certainly is, mate. But they're a bit mad under over there, though. Yeah, bro. I tell you what, it's a proper like high quality image that Yeah, and not only that. People, if you've got to read the description to see actually when it's like from, bro, right? So it's from the show that we did with Jacob on the 6th of March, but it's kind of like on a kind of almost like a relaunch show, like revamp or whatever. We had Jacob on for the start of like a Monday night recorded sessions that we were doing. And it was the first time, though, that Ambedo had actually done like a one-on-one piece of artwork, like specifically for a show. And bro, man, I was like, whoa, when he sent it, I was just like absolutely blown away. Proper blown away.
Well, you got to hand it to Ambedo. His style is amazing. I definitely enjoy it.
It's just got such a relevant place in like in the industry right now, like in our industry, right?
But dude, it just complements your entire like RAC FM community. Like like all of you guys, like when you see the artwork, it just meshes well. Like it couldn't be any other style from any other artist. It'd feel the same, I don't think.
Well, bro, these are 3 books, right? And the original like OG one is in our treasury. It's in our DAO treasury, right? The original mint one. These are the edition ones. And I did tweet out earlier that like we've got a Don dropping next, a RAC FM with Don Kryptonian, Takumi, and obviously Migaloo, right? White whale, yeah. Because Takumi is obviously a whale, right? That's a really good one, that one. If you have seen it, some of you might have seen it. There's only going to be 15 of those, bro. And then we've got an absolute banger to put up after. And again, there's only going to be 15 of them. Very, very small supply, and it's a hard cap,
Yeah, one of these days I would love to work with you guys and Ambedo on some sort of crossover artwork. I just enjoy his work so much.
You would be quite surprised about how many people have been hitting them up, mind. Well, you probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Like, I'm not surprised at all. I bet you one of these days, like, he will be so in demand, it's going to be like multiple years to get a scheduling with him to do an NFT.
It's interesting to see how that grows. Very, very interesting. I've been saying about this from the start.
So what's his work rate like, Robo? Like, how fast does he pump out individual pieces, would you say? Just a guesstimate. I know each thing varies. But
no, mate, he can work well, but he's got like, he's in the fiat mind and he's in a normal life as well. So there's only so much time you can put aside and dedicate to do something like that, right?
Yeah.
But also, dude, you don't know, man, like the draft process he'll go through. Like he sometimes like send us an outline and he's like, oh, it's something I've been like thinking about. And straight away from the outline, you're like, oh yeah, this could be good. And then he'll come in with just the background kind of color, and then he'll go over the top of that, and you'll see these colors like start to emerge. Bro, man, some of them are just so like when you see like the big image or whatever, they're just so fucking cool, man. So well drawn, well thought out. But like since he got into his like shading and stuff like that, yeah. This one's actually like one of the old logos as well. So if you look on a lot of the new stuff, right, you'll see that the logo changed, right? Like the Brasco came up with that idea, like of putting the FM in the C.
Yeah, it does have a slightly different look because it's just like it doesn't have the little air bubble or the text bubble around it.
Oh, my mute button's getting stuck, mate.
Actually, the font was totally different, wasn't it?
Correct. This was more like what was on, like, say, like our banner or something, but just like a bit of a softer one. This is where like Bbandz started to experiment. This is literally, like I say, the first proper one, the first one-on-one that we did for like a show like that, a specific show, Oh, bro, man, we've had some corker shows, but we're getting told to slow down by the boss man. You know what I mean, don't you?
No, I don't. Who's the boss man?
Uncle Finn. Oh, he thinks he's the boss man.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Hey, man. He's gonna have to start outsourcing his schedule to Reese's bots.
My damn microphone, dude. I'm sure I must be getting rugged, bro. When the microphone starts sticking now. I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
Finn's going to go mad with what you've just seen. By the way, I've just had Bendy in touch, yeah. He's looking forward to coming on.
Dude, I would support Finn any day over a bot system. So I'm just fucking with him. I think his work is priceless.
Oh, you're back walking it now, I see. He's like, oh.
Oh, man. I just thought that was funny how when he had that prop up, Reese came out with the tweet. It said, why would we fund anything like that when you just got bots? I'm like, man, I think what Finn does, because not only does Finn do the hard work in the background, but he's in so many spaces. He has a good pulse of what's going on. It's more than just recording and putting out the shows. I feel like his value is. It's his interaction and his ability to participate in the community as well. I feel like that's part of the funding that people aren't realizing the value of.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's why a little bit like I see them as like two different people, I say the Terra Spaces dude who we never get to hear from, right? That gigabrain. And then we get the shit talking Finn who comes on, Oh, bro, look, Smiley down in the audience.
True, but you can't have the shit talking Finn that comes up and says everything if he doesn't have the access to all this information and people around the community. Otherwise, he'd just be some idiot talking on the side of his ass. But he's not, because he's very well versed.
Bro, we start talking about him. Look who dropped in the room.
Oh, there he is with his bird app logo.
I sent them though an invite like before he requested. I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute then. Is he okay? Wait, let's see. Get him in, Finn. Invite to speak. Oh, he's up. Hello, brother. Good morning to you.
GM fam, how we doing?
What's up?
Not bad. Got Bendy coming in 40 minutes. Is you like, is there anything? I've got an hour. Is there anything you specifically want me to read up on? I went broad Friday night, man. Chill your boots. Chill your beans.
I'd like to get a space with Mr. Gattikin and Mr. Dove on to discuss some of these code exploits that are being found. Holy fuck. I love waking up to that shit.
Right. Look, the Larry thing was ages ago. We had a massive space where we went on all about the test net and about the versus like the main net. I mean, I can't believe that this conversation's coming out again and this guy's having to like clarify about stuff. But like they're talking about like the recent stuff, right? But also, like, it's getting dragged. The same conversations are coming up that we've already put, like, down twice, right? Fuck's sake.
Yeah,
man.
well, this was 34 minutes ago, and I mean, there's one thing Jacob is good at, and it's finding bugs in code. And so when he says that he found something, that kind of makes me think maybe he did, or maybe he's just trolling. You never know with him, right? That's the problem. The boy who cried wolf, you never know. Like, is he just fudding? Is he just trying to get osmosis ahead, or did he actually find something he's trying to keep people safe from? So that's always the issue.
Bro, did you see what I did for Omniflix today? Because they were like, "Oh, Robo, we're doing the Friday event, you know. Like, can you help us a little bit? Like, promote it a little bit. Maybe have you just got anything you're going to release?" And they're like, "Oh, you know, the editions thing's working now, the bulk editions." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Have you seen in the Nest thing? Yeah, put Jacob up there. We've just sold one. We've just sold one, 15 flicks. Only like $3, man. For nothing.
Yeah, Flick's doing some price discovery of its own, huh? So an hour ago, he said, "Hey, maybe I found yet another issue in your immaculate chain, but it's cool. I'm sure Thighboard can fix it." Here's the hint: 171. So I don't know what that means. No, I know. No, I get what he's doing. It's because Thighboard was like, "Oh, I got this degen energy renewed in me with this and that," and so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go look around." And yeah, so I don't know what 171 means and if he actually found something, but personally, after what we've been through, I'd like to play it safe rather than sorry. So if somebody could fix that, or let me know if I should be unstaking my bags. Just the way he did. He said, "Oops, here I go, sucking their balls again, Don." Like, he's just tagging everybody, but everybody's got him blocked, so no one's listening.
He's been causing World War III in the Juno Telegram, you know.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Juno's fucking whatever. He said, "Hey, Dead Right, Duff, pull request incoming. You forgot something." And then he said, "On second thought, I won't be making a pull request, so I don't reveal the issue, but somebody from the team should really contact me." See, and when he starts talking like that, it makes me think maybe he did find something. But then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe he's just trolling. I don't know. That's why I don't like when people deal with things in that way, because you never know when they are like just bullshitting for their company or a company they work for, or when they actually did find something. And if he did find something, people should probably listen, because he does know that stuff. But if he's just fucking around, then whatever.
We just need a Jacob's intention. We just need a Jacob's intention bot. That way, you know.
Exactly. What's the bot say? We're on a moderate to severe, like the smoky fire watch. When it comes to stuff like that, like I always try to play it safe rather than sorry. I've never had an exploit or been like phished or socially engineered, because I've been in this game for a while. And so when I see shit like that, it immediately like red flags go off. I'm like, maybe he did find something, but maybe not. I mean, who knows? I guess I should probably learn to code.
But he does have, like, let's be honest, right? And we saw it with like Jacqueline, that what came out afterwards. Like, he kind of bullies people into paying him.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't like how he goes about it, because then you never know. Is this just more extortion? Is this like taking a play out of TerraSpace's fucking playbook by recording everything and charging people not to post them? Or like, what's he doing here? You know, I just, you can't get a read on the guy. It's impossible for me.
Jacob's behavior has actually like tracked his follower account. As his follower account's grown, his behavior has getting more erratic. Do you know that? I've been saying this for how, like, you can go back and shows where I've said the same thing before. You know what I mean? Anyway,
yeah, it tracks with the moon too. You know how that be, especially if you're living with others. So what'd you guys cover this fine day? I saw you crash the initial space, so that was cool. At least you remembered to record this one, so I appreciate that. I'll go back and grab it once it's done.
we had to make, like, literally nobody could get in, and then actually I'd updated already, but then Chris jumped off, updated, and bang, he's straight in.
Was it fucking up again? Because I haven't, the last 3 days worth of spaces I've edited have, like, nobody's really had any issues. And usually you can tell when shit's fucking up because, like, it's not just one one space. Like, it happens to all of them.
No, bro.
So maybe today's the fucked up.
No, there was spaces crashing for fun earlier when I was up, when years lot was in bed. They were having the latest shows and they were crashing for fun. Apparently there's been bot swarms getting sent in and everything to, like, take them down and shit. This has been mad from what I've been hearing.
Just like DDoS style, or are they putting things in the nest that are malformed to crash the space? Because I feel like the space handles...
Right, they're not coming in as speakers, but some of the speakers that have been up there, these, like, guests and that, they've been saying that, like, they've been coming in on alts and things because literally when the spaces have been getting bot swarmed, they've all been getting, like, fucking followed off all these bots or something. I mean, dude, I've been trying to, like, listen in as better as I can. You need to, like, listen. I think one of them was recorded earlier. This Mario's supposed to be trying to crash everyone else's spaces. That's their conspiracy.
That's all bullshit, though. That's just nonsense. That's that clown fucking engagement farming, man. I don't even know why people still listen to that fucking fool. That's like a guaranteed way to just get fucking grifted.
Did you see he's doing the, like, subscriber only spaces now, the paid ones, yeah?
Oh, yeah, man, there's only one dude I subscribe to, and that's the King Elon. And only because he does rocket spaces for his subscribers sometimes, and I'm a nerd about that shit. But, yeah, I would definitely not. You should pay me to, like, have to listen to that fucking clown.
Who are you guys talking about?
So
Mario.
Hi, Mario, the pleb. We got, Finn, very good feedback on the FUD show. So I think we'll be continuing that maybe like once a fortnight, unless like something explodes that we're just going to FUD to death.
Oh, if you can see my face right now, I'm just completely shocked that people enjoy a FUD space more than a regular space. No, that shit's fun. People like that kind of shit. It's good. People were digging those review things too and those wrap-ups. So this week, instead of... So you guys all know last week, the first wrap-up I did, I actually just went back in the week and grabbed all the clips, which took like fucking hours. So this week, I've actually been making clips as I've been editing. So I've got like all my clips ready. I just need to get clips from this show and anything else that happens on the weekend. And then we'll have another review, integrity review.
I thought you were going to be doing that, mate. Didn't mention it because, like, why should I? That's not my fucking job, but
I appreciate it, because if I don't happen to do it, I don't want people being like, oh, where's the fucking review? Like, God damn it, now I got to spend 5 fucking hours getting clips. But no, it is a lot easier. I just like grab them, save them, I write down what I need to, and then I move on. It adds a little bit of time, like in my editing process, but not near as much time as it adds having to go back and do it all from the beginning. So it's worth it, I think, especially if people enjoy it.
Oh, bro, it's wicked. Do you know something? Like, we're gonna have a real sit-down conversation when we all get time, like about what the format needs to be. Because I agree with you and Bbandz. Like, the interviews need to be 45 to an hour, right? And I also think as well that like at that point you can even say like, oh, if you want to hang around with us, like, and come and shit talk or whatever, we'll put an unrecorded on. But like, you are right about that. And then like, how many do you do? You know, like, do you do like one special on the Friday a week? You know,
I don't think we can look at this like normal programming, because it is the space is such a fluid moving space, and people tend to get on things when they have time and they don't necessarily know in advance when that's going to be. So I don't know if like having a schedule like that is really the play, but I definitely also don't think doing like 8 specials a week is the play either. There's a happy medium in there somewhere, but yeah, I don't know. That's I think one of the things everyone struggles with in this space is like, how do they do like a schedule and all that? But yeah, I don't think that's the way we should be looking at it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, fair play. That's been kind of like my feeling, but like, okay, we have to be careful not to overload a week. That's the important thing, because last week we did, and I mean, Liz, I was only on for a little bit, like with Liz, and the host fell asleep, and like she was on your speaker, she couldn't do anything. She's like, "Go on, fire one up," because the convo was getting started, and I'm like, "Oh fucking hell, here we go." It was like just like late-ish in the afternoon or something. Holy moly, man! Like 9 hours, 51 minutes or something.
And that's good. I think if you're coherent enough to like be making notes during all of those non-recorded ones so that you have a good base of content for the actual recorded discussion, I think that's a good idea. But trying to record like that much content, like there's so many spaces happening, nobody's listening to that much shit. And when they do listen to interviews, they do want them like short and sweet, like give me the good stuff and then fuck off with the rest. But then some people just like the background noise. So I guess it depends. Do you want to make background noise, or do you want to make shit that people are like actively engaged with and listening to? Because I'm fine making either or. So.
Oh, dude, I just got a thing. I just got a thing there at the. Are you guys part of the Omniflix server? Apparently, Omniflix reaching out. Also, if you can hop into the space for a while and speak about the drop, it would be great. I wish I could do, but we've got Bendy coming on, and bro, you know what I'm going straight after, right? You know what I want to know. I mean, does his pay rise? Is his pay rise going to go through governance? Is it? I don't even know like that much about the situation. I just caught like a bit of it. You and I footed it the other night, as you do.
So, do I need to be on the Omniflix space? Is that what you're saying?
No, mate. Stay here, man, for the banter.
What do they need us to talk about?
They're talking about the Jacob one, man, the Jacob drop.
Oh, okay. They should get Ambedo up there. Ambedo made the art. He should go talk about it.
I know.
He didn't like to talk on spaces, though.
He's in the Fiat Mine, though, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, that too. I keep thinking it's the weekend. It's not yet. It's just Friday.
It is. And we've just sold another Jacob. Literally, I don't believe it. Someone's bought number 3. Do you know something? People get the fact it's like a bit of a laugh. Do you know what I mean? That's what they understand.
It is. That's all it is. And if you can't laugh at this shit, then what the fuck are you doing? If you're not laughing, you're crying.
Mate, 100%. And I said, this is a bit of a nostalgia piece. Plus, do you know that I created like a new collection for it, yeah?
Nice. I haven't looked that far yet. I just woke up, but off to go get myself one too.
Took the advantage of that sweet new 25 flicks fee, because it was like a 100 fee before, right? And they've just changed it by governance.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
Whooped in. So they're all the same, but they're editions. So they have got like 1, 2, 3, 4, blah blah, which you never used to be able to do editions before, right? Which I like, because people can come in and pick their lucky numbers, like their birthdays and shit, you know.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Right, mate.
Shipping.
When these go, right? When these go, we're going to put the Don one up, right? And then after the Don one, I've got the noise one, right? So, like, if because you're keeping the new track, aren't you, for the EP, right?
No, I need to record it, but we've had company over, so I haven't really had a chance to record it yet. But it'll all get done before I take off. It's good though, because I've changed a few things and I really like the new changes, and nobody's heard them yet, so I'm gonna keep it that way. We've got more references to things now with 90% more references. But yeah, it's done. I just need to record it, and then that'll be it. And then we got that other one, and then I'm out of here for like 5 months.
Because like you can grab like the data and stuff to see like who's like bought one of each one, right? Like I said, only from $3, you know. Because it is a new collection, right? It's the RAC FM Flicks like Friday specials, because that's what they're doing. Did you see like the video and shit? Have you seen all the stuff they've been talking about, Finn, about a Friday, like the Affordable Friday thing?
Yeah. I went and watched a 5-minute video of some dude with a funny accent telling me about the terror crash. So I made sure to get that poke.
So they basically like want to make like NFTs like affordable, like for everybody who's there, crack, like, wasn't it, kind of thing? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And let anybody who wants to be a creator be one. Yeah, it kind of like the Talus vibe, which is why another reason I appreciate their work.
Dude, what we're going to do about getting some NFTs on Enterprise then? What we're going to do with Enterprise? What's going on there?
Well, I mean, first of all, you guys need to get your shit together enough to pass the fucking prop. If we can't do that, there's no point in using it. So
I voted,
that was
didn't I?
the first test. Well, yeah, but I mean, 2 of 6 doesn't exactly constitute quorum now, does it?
True.
And like I said, not everything needs to be a DAO. Just because we have the tools, like, doesn't mean you have to actually use them. But it is fun to like mess around with them. So yeah, we can do whatever we want with it.
And it's
But
all
we can't do anything until y'all get your shit together and pass fucking proposals.
Oh, dude. So today I actually got round to, now DAO's like slightly working again. I actually got round to staking the, do you know the pre-orders? The pre-orders, some of it's a stake and rewards that we claimed before. Like, you know, we've got the 50 summit with gelato. 55 I stake the day, because you might as well fucking stake Juno at the minute. There's like, you know.
Where do you stake them at? In the DAO?
Wait, not only through it, but listen to this, because that's part of our treasury, but I've got the OZ for staking. Remember, we passed that prop on me, yeah? And I had a little trial where I did like the like restaking before. So I forgot all about it, and it's from the pre-orders, like what, 55 June or something sitting there. The gelato and stuff's still there for their staking for the house contract. But I went into Robo's sub-DAO, went into proposals, created proposal, selected OZ, then created the action of staking the 55 Juno to Lavender 5, because we did promise them on a space that we would stake with them after their crack, because they're excellent, yeah. And the developers, and they put a lot of tech out and a lot of help support for people. So I staked it with them, mate. So we've got 50 odd with gelato, we've got 50 odd with Lavender 5, and bang, executed it, voted on it yes myself, and then executed the prop. Boom, done, easy. You didn't even have to break sweat, none of yous.
Well, yeah, it's. I love it. He's just in there proposing things to himself. Self, how do we feel about this? Yay.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
The yays have it. The proposal passes. Next order of business. Self, would you read the minutes from the previous?
Yeah, mate, though, didn't we talk about like a distribution of responsibilities? Isn't this why? We've been waiting ages for you to create the RAC FM record sub-DAO. Ambedo created his, but we haven't set like anything up.
Not because the platform was unusable. You can't make shit when it's not usable. So now that it's fixed, maybe we can. Again, I don't think everything needs to be a sub-DAO or a DAO. But if we want to play with it, like, sure.
Okay, so like taking care of like staking and stuff like that, right? Like that.
What are you staking? It's like $8. Who cares?
No,
like,
but hear me out, right? That is something that doesn't have to go through full governance, right? You understand? But like something like, I don't know, voting a member of, damn right, that's got to go through. I think like the sub-DAO should be able to be in control of the NFTs. That's what Ambedo's is for, right? And I think in the new upgrade or something, it's going to be, because at the minute you cannot. You can't do like an OZ and then like do like a bulk mint or something. You can only
what
do
you
it.
Mean? Because you got to do them one at a time.
Yeah, like for me, on the OZ, on the OZ, I was only be able to get the staking. Like under the OZ, the actions you can take on behalf of like another DAO, which is our parent DAO, you're quite limited at the minute as to what you can do. The kind of
right, okay.
Mate, I cannot remember, but there's not that many things on there you can do. But NFTs is not one of them at the minute, I believe.
Oh, can you not mint or transfer NFTs with OZ?
From a sub-DAO.
Right. Huh.
No, I don't know unless they've updated it, unless they've changed the code. But I didn't hear no say that.
So you mean like if the collection address is in the parent DAO, you can't add to that in the sub DAO. But if you create a new collection address in the sub DAO, you can do that, right?
Yeah, you should be. Yeah, of course. So the sub DAO can create new collection in there.
So
you can do the
parent collection.
Yeah, you can do those. Correct. Within the sub DAO, depending on who has to vote, if it's only like one person, then you can kind of just like put it up and action it yourself. It's still got to go through the smart contract. Like, you've still got to do it under governance, but it's just literally a one-man vote, isn't it? So yeah, the collection. You know what you could do, though? I suppose you could, if you wanted to, you can transfer the collection, can't you? From, like, actually port it over. But I'm sure Noah said it was going to come the ability to be able to do this through sub-DAOs, to control the NFTs from the main DAO by a sub-DAO, right? Just like Atom control staking, yeah? That's what you mean, yeah?
Yeah, because I'm in the same boat. I've got some collections I made in my parent DAO, but if and when I actually get this project actually up and running, I was thinking, man, I should have put those NFT collections in a sub DAO. But I was kind of thinking what you said, well, I'll probably be able to auth-Z it and be fine. But you don't want the entire DAO like messing with generating NFTs for your project. That's not something that's a meaningful use for that many votes.
Right. What you've got to think is at the minute, though, your parent DAO would have to vote. I don't know how many members are in your parent DAO, but your parent DAO would have to like vote to send it to a sub DAO, wouldn't it? And then obviously when you're creating a sub DAO, you're going to have to think very carefully about like who's going to be involved and how like the parameters will be set and everything. It's mad, isn't it? I think when you come to like that, maybe it should be a one where like, are you just thinking about just you in there, like Chris, or you and others?
I would probably in the sub DAO for our NFT stuff, I would like it to be a team of people, for sure.
So you would make it an NFT DAO, then, wouldn't you? Where they have to like stake an NFT to be able to be part of it, so it's like
you just
do
like or maybe even just an invite multi-sig DAO. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have tokens for that. An NFT would be fine as well, I guess. But one,
of course,
either weighted voting or evenly weighted voting, or the only reason I say that is because the reason I think you'd want it to be a team and not a single person is if you have an NFT DAO and one single person can mint new NFTs to that collection address, they could go and stake them and take over the DAO. So there's a risk there if it's not a team of people.
Yeah, there's a more important one as well, isn't there? What if you walk out of the house tomorrow and get hit off a fucking big truck?
Yes. Or if you don't want to die and like screw.
Well, then your $8, then your $8 just goes up in smoke, I guess, at that point.
Now remember, Clint, Finn, there could be a bull market and that could be worth more than 8. It's not about current value.
That is true. That is true. And that's why I think they do take that stuff slow, because it does have a lot of security ramifications depending on how you do the permission tree and everything. And so, I think they're, especially after what's happened, they're probably like being super careful about that. Or I would hope that they are being. Also, we have an update about 8 minutes ago. The team is now aware of the issue and it will be fixed when they push the next major release. So we can all sleep well at night. Thank you for your work, Jacob.
You got to think too, Finn, with Stargaze and Omniflix both pushing to get their versions of DAOs and communities up and running, and now you're going to have these big NFT platforms in the cosmos having actual treasuries and stuff. If they haven't been paying attention to everything that we saw happen on DAO and Juno with AquaDAO and minting tokens and the exploits, and if they're not paying attention to market cap and the floor price, like you may see the same trends in a bigger spotlight on their platforms. Wouldn't you think? They may make
absolutely. Just because we learned from it doesn't mean everybody did, and you can guarantee that others will make those same mistakes. I think you pretty much need like a full-time DAO person to like monitor that shit, or at least
Education.
some solid scripts that like can track that. Because yeah, you don't, if the price does tank, you don't want that potential of someone being able to scoop up like $50 worth of whatever the fuck it is that governs your DAO and then just come in and take it over, you know. And I mean, at that point, I guess if it's just 50 to take it over, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but just the idea that that's a possibility, like, yeah, you got to have people aware of that shit.
Yeah, I wonder if their teams have been thinking about that. I kind of shot a message over to Chev and Omniflix, basically, and kind of mentioned that, like, hey guys, you should really consider a little bit of education and some things before you just go willy-nilly launching these DAO community platforms with big treasuries, because you're going to have a lot of instant communities, probably more so than Juno, because there wasn't really a lot of just communities here building out DAOs. We were all just kind of like testing on our own and doing stuff and then talking about it. But, you know, I could see Stargaze and Omniflix both having some pretty big security issues depending on how seriously they take education and, like you said, monitoring.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, a lot of it's price security through obscurity because there's not a lot of eyes on it. But you're right. Once the next cycle hits, I mean, if we learned anything from the Terra run-up and then subsequent crash, it's that shit starts happening very, very quickly. Money starts flying around very, very quickly, and people care less about where it's going. They're more eager to just let it go because of those big X's that they're going to get on their return. And so that's when you start seeing a lot of these exploits really like getting taken advantage of. And I'm sure people are keeping a couple 0 days in their pockets just for that time. Like, it's not worth blowing your load if you're a dev and you find something like that in a bear market, because it ain't going to be worth shit. But if you can save that and hope that but that you were the only autist that found that shit, you know, like hope that nobody else found it, then yeah, you're good. Oh, look, we got Bendy in the house. We got Robo with his hand up like a pleb.
Wait, because you can cut the show here. That's what I'm about to say. Very quickly, before we change topics, because I've got some great stuff to talk about. Your man is early, which is great, because us Brits never fuck around. We're never late. Right, Chris, I believe you'll be able to go in and create an OZ, right? A grant, yeah? OZ grant. Grant authorization. So the grantee is like the sub-DAO, right? Yeah. The grantee is the sub-DAO, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you've got only a few options. You go execute smart contract. Then the smart contract address would be your parent DAO, because you're executing a smart contract on behalf of that, right?
Parent collection address.
No.
Oh,
no.
Oh, the DAO's smart contract address?
Yes, correct. That it would be, wouldn't it?
Okay, I see what you mean.
Because it's yeah, well, you mint them into the treasury, right, don't you?
Right.
I'm sure about that. The collection address is just related to the collection, I'm sure. But then you've got contract permissions, just select all. And then obviously if you want, you can put like a limit on the calls or not. You can have calls, funds or combined. Dude, this should work. Like,
I'm gonna test this later. I'm gonna test it out and see.
Are you going on testnet, are you? Will you fill me in on what you can mess around with, yeah?
Yeah.
Because you know what, the staking one's really good. Anyhow, right, guys, without further ado, let me give you man a proper welcome, because I'm looking forward to this, right? So, thinking edit us a little bit here. Without further ado.
Nice. I'm gonna tell you something. When the world starts to get really bad and these mugs out here robbing, you gonna love digital currency.
All these motherfuckers, they be running and gunning, and I'm all like, I'm sitting back just having fun in the sun, and then I'm like 1 out of 100. I'm just building abundance. The sum of everything we built are in the last 100 upsets. You're getting salty, feeling faulty. You ain't no man. I keep Robo here, grinning ear to ear, throwing up anarchy, smoking toiletries, spitting philosophies. Look at the dossier, we rack like geology. There's layers to this shit, like it's sedimentary. All these little onion peels getting torn off and buried. Imagine the smell. That shit is a vital experience. Without knowing how, you will not survive, period.
He's a fucking trip, man.
Jimmy, if you listen to this, right, you're getting absolutely fucking ripped to death, like on a spaces fucking live, you little troglodyte bastard. I hope you fucking listen, I hope you come to my house, son. I swear to God, man, I've got fucking loads of weapons and mad dogs, man. Mate, you just a little rat, man. Go on, fuck off, man. Do one. Harmony. Me another one. Do you looking for a fucking job? You fucking idiot. You've just been fucking at the death. Fuck off.
Try to change the course of the portion philosophy. I'm just here for the corporation sponsored lobotomy. Feels like I won the lottery, like I'm ghosting this pottery. Chill, Demi, boy, the shit's supposed to be haunting. If it wasn't, ain't no puzzle, you would try to train your muscle. Airdropping like a fatal hustle, but the pay is bustin'. Think of all the loss accrued just to pick apart the tricky custom. I figured all those sub-DAOs would make up for something. I guess it just goes to show the fuck do I know. At least it's quiet over here, I like my little silo. It's better than watching them fight over how to divide my time between sitting at the desk and the ride home. Devs at Mickey D's, they leeching off that Wi-Fi. Zapdos and Moldy shipping more than 5 guys. Console open, waiting for the kamikaze. When the flash loans bang, they feeling like paparazzi. Snapshot motherfuckers. We got layers, meteor jawbreaker. We cracking a lot of craters. We rapping a lot of pay dirt, maxing out relators. Imagine the smell, $5 wrench to your Darth Vader.
It's really funny to us at Binance that everyone here is talking about blockchain attack. We know who all the validators are. We know where they live, and we're going to their house with a wrench, a big wrench, and we will attack them with the wrench, and then we will take their validator node physically and put it in a truck and drive it to China.
Right. So this is an extension of the activities you performed on BTC, right? Funding and creating these massive Bitcoin mines, putting them in caves, putting them in factories that were abandoned in the past, and also using electromagnetic pulse bombs to detonate the USA and the other country mines, right? So you're now applying this strategy to Lung in order to take over the chain, is that correct?
It's more simple. There's no EMP bomb. It's just a van of men in balaclava, and they have wrench, and they're taking the physical validators from people's houses. They are usually very fat, and they're usually in the shower with trying to wash their mice droppings off their clothes. So it's very simple. We just walk in and we take it. But if there's someone who is sitting at the computer or sleeping at the computer, we hit them with the wrench really, really hard, and then they say, "Stop, don't do that again." And we say, "That's okay. Just give us your validator node," and then they give it to us and we drive it to China.
TerraSpaces.